The following podcast contains spoilers for the 1978 film Starcrash and WandaVision Season 1, Episode 4.
You're listening to the Jedi HoloCast, fully armed and operational.
If you in need of avenging, I'll be your fury. But if your review needs revenge, then no need to worry. I'm gonna take the last of your mutants and rebuild the nation. If you about to die for the third time this summer generation, but if you go lacking in facts, you about to be the res. Because I'm tracking attacks like an angry Judge Dredd. Don't come trying to put me on blast or end up in traction. Find yourself in more casts than even Samuel Jackson. But if you're not an imposter, no need to warn you. If you want to live long and prosper, got something for you. If your blackest night needs some light, then I'll shine above you. If you're frozen in carbonite, here comes someone who loves you. Greetings, programs. Welcome to the Jedi HoloCast, the one and only podcast broadcasting to and about the multiverse. I'm your host, Digital Jedi, coming to you acrimoniously live from Jedi Temple 1. Today on the show, we review Starcrash, the definitely not Star Wars ripoff. We FanCast our MCU West Coast Avengers, a quick WandaVision recap, and questions from our listeners. Last week I said readers.
Yeah.
Like
It's
twice. I said it twice. Questions from our readers. I don't know. Apparently in my mind I'm running Wizard Magazine in 1998 or something.
We're getting letters in.
Hey, we're gonna check the mailbag, the literal mailbag.
You fucking Laron read us.
Yeah.
That can count as our first shout out. I shout out YouTuber. Let's go. Go watch Laron. He's great.
Watch Digital Jedi Master. He's also great.
Yeah.
Watch our database. The reason we know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably that too.
Yeah, I have them in my friend. I call the little channel section. I call friends of the family.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have I think I have Maddie and Adam in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the reason that we all know each other is because we met on the Watchtower database Discord, and I have some small connection to the Watchtower database boys, the data boys.
A little one,
Yeah,
drawing
I do some
issues of their webcomics sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes I draw their webcomic.
Being a moderator on the Discord.
Moderator on the Discord. Maintain their website. So yeah, just a few things. So yeah, they're a decent channel. You should check them out. They could use the subscriptions.
That feels like such like a backhanded
Give the boys a look. They're struggling out there like the rest of us. So like they have way more subscribers than they probably have like 40 times more subscribers than I do. So yeah. I'm definitely not using my affiliation with them to try and build my stuff up. So
not at all.
Small 1 in a million subscribers.
Yeah. Y'all could mention me once on one of your shows. I'm just saying I could get a little shout out every now and again on the show just for the contribution. Yeah, just saying.
And while we're chilling, go watch Movie Bob. No.
Yeah. Follow his Twitter. You'll be thoroughly entertained.
Movie Bob has become some kind of thing on our 2 servers. I don't know how that happened, but he's just like a constant topic of conversation.
He's
so fun to talk about.
Yeah, not just as a channel, not just as a YouTuber, but like as a personality, as a person. His life is just, there's a lot of question marks over things,
especially his cooking.
And his eugenics takes.
his views on eugenics, his views on most things. There's like a lot of question marks. So
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a
Maybe
reason
we'll
why.
do.
There's a reason why Lindsay Ellis was like, "Yeah, no, leave me alone, weirdo."
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
stop saying we're friends and using that one picture we took at a
Yeah.
Comic-Con 5 years ago.
Oh, jeez. I can't believe he still has an online presence after that.
Yeah,
Like,
And
if
no
that
shame.
happened to me, I would like, I would like go into exile. Just like, oh,
he
jeez.
wanders off into the desert, never to be seen again.
Yeah, like I'd be fucking Last Jedi Luke. Like,
I mean,
I'd
like
be living in a shack.
one time Lindsay Ellis sent me like the shrug emoji, the text emoji shrug thing, and it just like I was like in my feelings for like about 3 months over that
Bro, what?
over that. I was just like wow, I didn't want to talk to anyone for like 3 months because of that minor incident. If Lindsay Ellis was like, please stop it's pretending that we know each other, I would, yeah, I'd go into a hole and
But you don't
stay there.
pretend to know her personally. That's the difference.
That's true. I'm just saying, just that
Yeah.
one interaction
Yeah,
was
like a really
devastating enough.
yeah.
Like, Lindsay Ellis
Jesus.
disagrees with me, and I was like, oh wow, that hurts. Uh, but
Parasocial
yeah,
relationships, man, not healthy.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
uh,
So looking forward to getting those kind of relationships on this podcast one day.
oh
Yeah.
God, no,
Can't wait
no.
for the listeners to
Yeah, yeah.
I was watching
I'm
it.
looking forward to
I was
I'm
what?
looking forward to getting that one listener who just is like, we're definitely friends, even though we aren't.
who who finds your address like, oh no,
God.
please.
I was watching a video earlier today from the Amazing that was talking about a stalker he had who
Oh
like
Mm,
jeez.
messaged like his university thing being like, I know which apartment you're in. You're in the same building as me. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with you,
that's
dude?
that's
yeah,
That's
that
horrifying.
that is why I do not use my real name. That is why
yeah,
I have a pen name. If I pretend to have a real name, it's a pen name. And that's why I am very vague about where I'm from. Like
yeah.
I go to decent enough lengths to prevent things, but
I I used to be so paranoid about that before I got my all my accounts. At that point, I was like, "Fuck it. If I'm going to be online, I may as well just be open. Like, why not?"
Yeah,
yeah.
I still like if I'm in conversation with people, I'll try and avoid using like other people's names that I know,
Hmm.
unless it's like I'm talking to people who I also know offline. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
but like for the sake of their privacy, but I'm somewhat willing to sacrifice my own. Mainly because it's like,
Hmm.
if you came out here and tried to hunt me down, it's like, most of the buildings around here look the same. I could easily see, this is a very generic village place. You, you'll most
I
likely
feel like
think
I
it's
have a
someone else's home.
I feel like I have a certain level of immunity just by being an old person. Um,
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, I understand, like like Lindsay Ellis, ostensibly attractive woman. Amazing, is good looking guy, young guy.
Hmm.
I imagine that um that has a bit to do with it,
Yeah.
like, but not too many people stalk, like, you don't hear about like you don't hear about like Harrison Ford being stalked now, or
Yeah.
or
Pretty
with
sure he
Angelina
has.
Jolie's dad. You know,
Yeah.
so I feel like there's a certain level of immunity there. But also yeah, I've seen this face, so there's a there's a good chance that I'm fairly safe. So I don't mind too much being a little bit more open with my online identity. But
Yeah.
And see, that's the other thing for me. It's like, I'm objectively ugly. Like, if y'all saw my face, you would be like, oh no, never mind. I'll throw all this stuff into the fire. Move on.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. The Jedi HoloCast, the podcast of self-deprecation and paranoia.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And 10 minutes of talking about this based off like a joke I made.
yeah,
Um,
basically. But I guess we should go ahead and get into our review, our movie review for this episode. Our main topic: we are reviewing the 1979. I guess you could call it a Roger Corman joint. It was made by his
his
production
companies.
studio.
Oh,
Yeah,
78. I will correct you.
I'm
1978.
s- I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yes, same, not the follow. But yes, yeah. The following year, I was thinking of Black Hole,
Yeah.
Disney's definitely not Star Wars ripoff, as
Oh
opposed to
boy.
the Italian, definitely not Star Wars ripoff of Starcrash. Guys, I forced. I mean, I got you to watch
Yeah.
Starcrash um, this week. Uh, what are y'all's thoughts?
ah,
Well, I mean, like I took notes for this, which I don't really do. I don't take notes for really anything because I don't like share things. But again, my first note is the intro is literally the New Hope one, which again, I mean, intro as in the as I've said before the recording started, the establishing shot of the movie, space, the final frontier, the empty the empty space, the black void with the. I actually really like how the stars had different colors in this.
That was actually nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
reminded
was
me
a
of
nice.
those like books like Do You See What I See, like those hidden picture books. They reminded me of like that, like the aesthetic.
Yeah,
But like, so you have your space shot, you have your ship flying overhead, and it just like again, like I said, the same shot that Spaceballs parodied for like 3 minutes. But like,
except
it's just
except like it's like really short.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
not a
it's like
giant spacecraft.
yeah,
It's like a third of the size of a star
yeah,
destroyer. So
it's
like
so
it start and you're
stubby.
expecting like more, and it just like, oh, there's the engines.
It's
It's
the reverse of Spaceballs. Like we've got the short version, we've got the normal version, which is Star Wars, and then you've got Spaceballs, which again takes maybe 3 minutes. Like it's
yeah.
just a baffling intro.
I will
Like
say that I did think that like the 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 production design for like outer space and stuff was actually kind of nice looking, kind of a nice
mhm.
stylized with red and blue and yeah. I don't know what kind of galaxy this is that has
Yeah,
these dramatically different color stars, but it's a nice it's a nice visual. I gotta give her credit for that.
yeah, I
so
agree.
uh, the ship though. I saw this is serious like I think yesterday, but the ship to me, like at least when I first saw it, reminded me of like one of those Lego Star Wars ships.
Oh yeah, everything definitely had a Lego feel to it. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like me, man. Like I knew that this was like a cheap tie-in thing, but like that really set like the tone. For like
Yeah,
in
mm,
terms of like effects quality. I wasn't quite prepared for some of the stuff I'd see later. Like oh, let me scroll down to the specific one that really caught me off. Uh, where is it?
is it the giant robot?
Oh, the robot was one of them. That fucking robot is so stilted.
No, I mean the big one, like the Amazonian
Yeah, I
robot.
know. That's what I mean.
the,
That
the
robot
Okay,
is
yeah,
so
robot,
yeah,
stilted in its movement. It's like,
the
yeah.
fuck.
robot with the double quad quintillion D's. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Also, the two other robots, those two little small ones with knives.
But the Bionicle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they do kind of look like Bionicles. I
oh
didn't
yeah,
think about
yeah.
that.
That's in my
Damn.
so yeah, so skipping ahead to that statue just a bit. Yeah, there's a giant statue that comes to life and
Yeah,
like a giant robot. I assume it's a robot.
yeah,
It kind that part of the movie has a very Jason and the Argonauts feel to it.
yeah,
yeah.
But like
it's,
if Jason and the Argonauts wasn't good,
yeah,
um, so but I like this was the first time I've watched this movie a few times. This is probably my
Mhm.
third or fourth time watching the film, but this is the first time I ever like paid attention to it.
Right.
Um, and I was like, "Is that a Barbie doll?" Like, I
Oh, like
think
the big robot,
yeah, I think the big robot was a
like a
redressed Barbie doll because the joints only moved like a Barbie doll's joints would, like without the like in the old ones that didn't have like articulations in the joints. You just had to move the legs, to make it walk. I'm not talking from experience here, but I've I've
of
heard.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I was like, this is a redressed Barbie doll. That's why it can barely, like if you were gonna make a model, wouldn't you make a model that can bend at the knees, bend at the wrists, bend at the elbows, bend over to do your scene? No, it's just it's so stilted.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
such a
I think
fucking
you're right. I'm looking at some of these shots. Like, there's a back shot of it where like the thigh of the robot. That I think. Oh my! Like, it does. It looks like they put like tinfoil over a doll. Oh my Jesus! I didn't pick up on that. Oh dear.
dear
Yeah. So
God.
big robot. That was fun. Um.
Oh, the effect I was talking about was, you know that, like, kind of like optical animation beam thing that
Oh,
she
like the
does?
red the red space monsters or whatever. Like,
Uh, no, it was like one of the women, does like this, like, blast that I think was meant to be out of her eyes. That looks atrocious.
I I do not remember this.
It was like
So
light
like
green.
I wanted to ask you guys something like I kind of wanted to like start at the beginning of this film and work our
Yeah.
way through it.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
there's one question. But the only reason I want to do that is there's one question I'm really eager to ask you guys. What did you all think of the elevator that goes sideways?
I like that. I was thinking like because I was watching that and I thought, what is the practicality of this? Second of all, what does the set look like? Like where why don't you just have because it's
A
like 90
hallway.
degrees. Yeah, why don't you
Yeah,
just have
just a
an
hallway.
intersection? What is the point?
That
Like
takes
and
so much longer. Yeah.
if it's a security thing, why couldn't it just been like an airlock, like a
All right.
two-way
Yeah.
door? Like it's just like no, we're gonna get into this thing and then push on like a little circular panel or whatever, and it's gonna flip us. I don't think it was even 90 degrees. Well, it was like 45, like between 45. I don't think it was perpendicular. Like,
Yeah. It
like it
was.
was.
You could just have a hallway and turn the corner,
Yeah,
I mean, as long as it took, it very easily could have been just a straight line.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that opening 10 to 15 minutes, like, was so bloody weird and baffling
yeah.
to me
I
that
just
I
like,
actually didn't
yeah.
register that it was going sideways.
There are,
Me.
yeah. There,
God
there,
damn,
there are some. Yeah. Like
so much
there's some
shit.
other things that like I noticed. Like again, they go for hyperspace to like activate. We're going to hyperspace, gentlemen. Like thank you, Acton. I really enjoyed that. Where just I also don't know what
Yeah.
the hyperspace effect is supposed to be. It's red. Like I don't because like
Oh,
this
someone in production design, in effects design really liked the color red because a lot of things are bright
yeah.
red in this
Also
movie. Like
yeah
the attack at the beginning of the movie by the blood platelets.
yeah
Yeah,
Oh, I want to talk about that actually.
yeah,
You finish
yeah
your
yeah.
point. You finish your point first, and I'll go into what I wanted to say about
No,
it.
no, I was just gonna say they're bright red, just like a
yeah
lot of other effects are. Yeah, that is kind of a dumb. I mean, it, they tried. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah.
yeah they did.
Yeah, that that attack. It looked like they were literally like that thing that teachers use in classrooms where they flash the light onto the screen. It looked like someone was doing that. That is what it
An
looked like.
overhead, yeah, like an overhead projector. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, me man. Like between that and the Lego Star Wars looking ship, I was just like, oh boy, this is gonna be a long one.
Yeah,
Uh,
I also want to point out, so sort of like the movie begins with our hero, I guess, our heroine, Stella Star and her. I honestly I like the fact that she had a navigator. Like Acton wasn't a co-pilot. He was like they made a point to point out this
Yeah.
is the navigator, and I was like, oh, that's neat. But they're like smugglers and they're escaping and they're being and so when they happen upon the ship that we see in the intro, Stella looks at it aghast, and I just want to point out she says, "It's a spaceship." Like she is so confused by this development. Like, I, I don't know, man. Like she's supposed to be like an ace smuggler, and she finds a fucking ship in the middle of space.
So that ship that that they find, I guess that was actually one of the escape pods from the ship that was attacked earlier, right?
I think so, yeah.
So like this was the thing about this movie, is that even though there were like you can't tell, there's like they're not clear on what things are supposed to be in space.
Yeah.
Like it's just sort of like, oh yeah, these ships are leaving this big ship. I guess they're escaping. They didn't show anybody getting into escape pods.
Right.
You know, they just showed little ships jump off the big ship and leave. And then and the ships are very kind of nondescript.
Yeah, like they're nothing. They look like paper airplanes.
So I guess that's what they found on the ship was one guy who had
not
partially
died,
survived. Yeah, he was as it was later described, his brain is useless or something to that effect.
Yeah.
His brain is completely damaged. That's what it was. His brain is complete, which I don't know how you measure that. But yes, his brain was completely
you're still alive
damaged.
somehow. Like, presumably that would kill you, but maybe not in space.
And then they almost get caught in this really large green, not very bright neutron star.
Yeah.
So like I'll give them credit for being correct about the neutron star's gravity will. Like if you get caught in it, you can't escape it because it's like just one. It's one step away from being a black hole, but like everything else about that neutron star was just wrong. It's just kind of a dull green star.
Yeah.
And so they decide to
sorry to interrupt, but like speaking of being wrong, I'm a fucking idiot. I just realized that when Sirius responded to me in like my notes in the movie chat,
this is what I told Mark was going to happen.
I got mixed up. I forgot Ellie was a robot's name and not the navigator's. I'm a fucking idiot. God damn it.
Elle is the robot. Acton is the navigator.
Right.
Yeah, no, we're on complete opposite sides. Elle is not best boy. He's annoying as shit.
He was the only reason I kept watching. Everyone else was fucking flat. I was like, give me my stupid American. Like, it was sick.
Every time he spoke, I got annoyed.
Like Elle. I'm pretty sure I didn't notice that Elle was Southern until like about after.
How?
I didn't know. I guess I didn't hear it until like after he picked them back up later in the film.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It took me a while. I was like, why does he sound different?
It's like I don't think he turns into Yosemite Sam until after that point.
Yeah,
I noticed it like immediately and was just like, "Oh, I hate this."
Oh, okay.
I hate this.
And like, did y'all see when she went to the escape pod? I really wanted to point this out. Did y'all notice that she was wading to it like she was swimming through water? Like you don't swim in space. There's nothing to wade through. She was like doing the breaststroke, trying to get closer to the ship. That just was.
Also, this movie is obsessed with like bikinis.
Yeah,
like because it's not just like like Stella will wear one eventually, but like even on the spacesuit has a bikini. Like
it has a thong.
It has a thong. I was like, what's the design choice for this? Like
Yeah.
I was, but like just a
People
lot
act
of the
like they know me.
movie, I'm like I'm baffled because again, then they get caught at this neutron star, right? That's where they get caught, or what? Like
Y-
they escape a
sh-
neutron star or
yeah,
something.
shortly after
Yeah,
rescuing that dude.
and like these characters. Also, I didn't realize Thor was in green face until I saw until he was in person. Like when he was just talking to Stella and Acton
Very
over the
faded green face
yeah, like
as well.
over
Yeah.
the comms or whatever. I thought he was just a normal bald guy, but then I
Yeah.
see him in person with Elle, and I'm like, oh, he's green. Like
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that. But like they get sent to this space station, and like I was kind of expecting like some big. But like this, did you guys notice the space station looks like a hand? Like it looks like a because
Yes.
at one point
Because
later in
it
the
makes a
movie,
fist at one
yeah, like I
point.
was gonna say, it closes later in the movie. It makes a fist, and I was thinking again, Spaceballs are just on my mind, I guess, because I thought they were gonna do giant space mecha at some point. I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
It's like that's a big hand. Where's the rest of the robot? But like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
that and of course like they condemn her to a life of hard labor in a
yeah,
bikini and heels.
yeah, and the judge is like like I'm sure you guys noticed, right? But it's he's like a little squid backdrop, and
He's a
and it's very clearly the face of someone who's just in a different room that they've overlaid onto it. Like it's not someone in a prosthetic.
he's
Like,
he's the great intelligence.
yeah,
Yeah. I
Oh,
don't even know why he needed to be a squid. Like there's
yeah,
no
because he was
so
supposed to be a computer or something, but like
I
I don't know
guess
why he had to be a squid.
but I made a point of noting in this film like this is a movie where like everything's happens quickly but nothing happens.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Like nothing
that's right.
serves a point, but it just keeps on hitting you with new stuff, new.
Also,
Like they didn't. The budget is high for this
it's
movie.
$4 million. Like,
Yeah,
where did that money go? Was it all Christopher Plummer? Was it all the filming in Rome? Like, where did the money go?
It
I don't
all
understand.
went to Plumber.
Yeah. Like, what was Star Wars' budget? I'm gonna look this up so we can compare.
yeah. And Christopher, I'm still is Christopher Plummer is like the biggest tonal shift in the
Yeah.
whole movie
Yeah.
because like you're like these people are ridiculous. This movie is ridiculous, and then Plummer is like no different here than he was in like Star Trek 6 where he's like cry havoc and let's slip the dogs of war. You
Yeah.
know, he's like totally into this. He is
I know.
Yeah.
selling it.
Can I just say, if he is
Sorry.
anything like in Star Trek 6, if he's anything like he was here in that, I'm probably going to enjoy
Yeah.
Star Trek 6 a lot because he
He's
was my favorite part of
amazing.
the movie.
Yeah, he's amazing in Star
Yeah.
Trek 6 and he's like kind of amazing here. Like he is
Yeah.
totally into
Yeah.
this.
I
And
love
I'm
his
just
outro speech. It's like
yes.
it's actually a good ending. I say
Yes.
what the fuck? This movie did not earn that. What the
I mean, I want to go back to the prison planet for a second. First of all, the note that Acton was not put into a like when we see Acton, he's just wearing his normal clothes. Like they didn't force him into a mankini. Like he's just wearing that leather like jumpsuit. Second
No,
of all,
literally no other prisoner is dressed that way. I don't
like second of all, they're in the prison scene when Stello's fighting somebody. There is an incredibly noticeable cut, like
Yes!
mid karate chop, to
Yes!
the point that I had to rewind it to watch it
Oh, I
again.
missed that.
I did that
Like-
too. I was like, what the
Like it was like
who
she
in
swung-
editing department?
yeah, like 2/3 of the way of a punch, and then it cut to the impact. I was like, what is this?
She punches across time.
Yeah.
The martial art.
Wait,
We
was that a
didn't-
punch? I thought it was like the kick he does to the kick she does to the guy's arm, where it has the cut.
Something like whatever it was. Yeah, it's she's fighting a prison guard, and like it's terrible. But
Yeah,
Also, the thing about the main theme to this is that they do like a fifth, like a, again, I haven't done music in quite some time, but it's like there's like a fifth, like a leap in the score, like bum bum, like, like Star Wars. So it's like, so I keep expecting to go like da 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 da, but it's like da 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 da. I'm like, what the like this is just, it's the same. Those first two notes of the Star Crash, like I guess the main theme, I guess you consider it. I heard it throughout the
Yeah.
film, but like, are those meant to invoke Star Wars? I wonder. like, I
Is
maybe.
anything meant to evoke Star Wars in this film?
No, I don't think so. I think this is a
Wow.
very original concept. Just a massive coincidence, I think.
Stella Star, you know. Uh,
It was in
Star
production.
Crash.
It was in production before Star Wars. Don't look into that. I
Yeah.
promise. I can confirm.
Don't look into the screenwriter being signed on the same month that Star Wars came out. Like Mark and I looked into it a little bit before you joined, when we were sort of like preparing stuff, and it is, they leaped onto this so hard.
yes,
Like,
they were ready for this.
oh
I mean, this might be the first.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to research to see who, if anyone, beat them to a Star Wars ripoff. Um, like
I mean, you said Disney
sooner
did
than
one,
this.
right?
Yeah, Disney did one, but they at least took 2 years to
yeah,
make theirs.
they
So,
waited.
I'm
yeah,
gonna have to watch that at some point too.
yeah,
Oh,
that is
jeez.
actually halfway decent, even though that is not how black holes work.
Okay.
Like not at all how black holes work, like even remotely how black holes work, but they did do a good job, kind of like with the production design and the script and
Mhm.
whatnot. There's a pretty decent villain in the film who's actually kind of intimidating and scary.
Oh,
So yeah, even though it still looks like it's older than Star Wars,
yeah.
because it looks like it came out like in the 1960s.
It looks
Yeah.
so
So
bad,
yeah,
especially
it
when the
looks.
effects come into play. Like, it
Mhm.
drops by like half resolution. Like, oh my god. Like, when Stella's going, when they pick Stella up on the prison planet, like when it's very clearly like a thing where like she's walking up a ramp, and then there's the model of the spaceship with its ramp down, like laid over it, and she's like,
Yeah.
it looks like I'm watching something like on an airplane on somebody else's like laptop, who's sitting in front of me. It looks so bad.
Well, how did you like Christopher Plummer when he first when the emperor, what was he, an emperor,
He was an
president?
emperor, yeah,
Yeah.
He was an
yeah,
emperor.
emperor,
When he first contacts them via hologram, and it's just him with the opacity turned down.
yeah.
And like there's no, like, every time the camera cuts away, he's a slightly different size. In the back. At one point, like when he first comes in, they're like looking, they're always looking like eye level, like there's
Mhm.
somebody in the
Yeah.
room with them. But at one point the camera does like a wide shot and he's like huge. He's almost the size of Snoke at one
Yeah.
point. And I'm just like, "Whoa, what? Wait a minute."
That did not
So
even
yeah,
register to me.
yeah.
Yeah, for a lot of this movie, I was just kind of like, oh boy, I just want to get through this. I want to get through this. Let's go. So
Yeah.
a
And
lot of those
also
details I just kind of missed.
I've watched this movie like I've said, I've seen it several times. I'm still not sure what uh
Plot is.
Acton's powers are.
Yeah, they're very generic, like very like not
Apparently
but like
it's
very
it's
vague.
squiggles. Apparently it's
Yeah,
squiggles is what his power is.
It
he can
seemed to
do
be.
like dubstep sound effects on
It
his
Yeah.
hands.
it seemed to me like energy manipulation sort of thing. I think, from what I
I guess,
remember.
but at one point he holds up his hand and says, "Here's where we're going." And I was like, "That's just a squiggle.
Yeah,
There's nothing in your hand but the squiggles you but." And then he changes the shape of the squiggle to show another location. I'm like,
yeah,
that's just a different squiggle. You're not showing us anything.
yeah. Like, because like the plot of this is that they get conscripted by the emperor to go figure out what is it, Count Zarth Arn? He has a
Yeah.
super weapon. Ooh,
The Doom
completely
Machine.
original.
Count.
Yeah, like, and so also to find the Emperor's son if they can be bothered to. But so then they go to the Amazonian planet because of reasons, and again, it just becomes Jason and the Argonauts for 10 minutes, and like at one point, like Elle and Stella have shared one scene together. Also, I like the effects when they're in that like that fucking cube. Like they're in
Yes.
like that, like I actually thought that looked quite good compared to the rest of the movie. Like them flying
Yeah.
over the water, that
Yeah.
actually looked pretty good. But
Mhm.
like Stella at one point has a line where she's like, "You're the best thing like a woman could ask." It's like you don't know him. He's been chasing you down for God knows how long, and
Yeah.
now like he saved like this has not been earned. This is like your
Yeah.
first expedition together.
And like,
Like,
And
can I just say, I said in my notes when I got to that point, oh my
Yeah.
god, she's going to f the robot by the end of this, isn't she?
I
And
hope so.
I was so happy by the end of the movie when he got cucked for David Hasselhoff. Like,
I thought David Hasselhoff was just like a kid. Like I didn't get that there was a romance between him and
well,
Stella.
I don't think it's like an actual romance, but like, or at least it doesn't feel like a romance. But you have that moment right at the end before Plymouth starts speaking, and it's
Mhm.
like, he's looking,
yeah, they are kind of giving each other eyes.
Yeah.
and like the robot's
Yeah.
looking at them, and he's just like, well, okay.
Mm.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, get f***ed, you stupid,
Did you all
annoying
catch that
fucking robot.
he's supposed to be like a C3PO like stand-in
Oh,
because
obviously.
he's like constantly fretting about everything, but in a southern drawl.
Like also because he's very clearly in some scenes trying to emulate C3PO, but since he doesn't have the same restrictions as C3PO, like just wearing like a rope like a fucking suit that like cramp like he's in leather or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very noticeable again when he and Stella go to those Amazons and he's just a guy when he leans in to get into next to her, I'm like, this is just a man like leaning over. Like
Yeah.
this isn't a robot would have to like do this differently. But also like he sometimes remembers to keep his arms like C3PO, but sometimes they're just normal. Like sometimes they're out to the side, but sometimes he's just like naturally moving them around.
And the Amazons just shoot him like for no reason.
Yeah.
Remember, they just come out of the room like they've captured them already,
Yeah.
and some chick just comes out of the airlock and goes, "Die, robot!"
Die,
And I'm
robot!
like, what the crap?
I fucking love that moment. It's so weirdly delivered.
Like you already have them captured. Why are you? And that just I guess it was just to have a needless babe fight.
Yeah.
Because the Amazons in that scene only serve one purpose.
Yeah.
That purpose is
Close.
it's the only purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because like after this Amazon planet, then they go and like they fight the big robot, which we said earlier, like the thing that might be a Barbie. Like,
Yeah.
like
Ray Harryhausen, this ain't.
like they find the queen and then they go to I can't remember what it was called. I think it's their generic like Latin names and then followed by a number, I think was the naming scheme for these planets. But
Yeah, I
like
actually didn't write those down.
they
Yeah.
they then go to the ice planet, which they outran Star Wars. We got Hoth before Hoth, I guess.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
the
that's
point
a good
where
point.
it gets freezing cold at night, like that you. I mean, like also that freezing cold remark that like you can't go below 1,000,000 degrees. Like that doesn't. The absolute
Oh,
zero is not that cold. Like
I
it's
need
like
yeah, I need to point out how they described the ice because that's the planet that the first ship at the beginning of the film
yes.
encounters where they get attacked by the blood platelets
No.
and
I thought no. That's the third planet that they encounter. I think, or is it the ice planet?
it's the ice planet. It's the ice planet because the guy who finds it describes it as, and let me see if I can let me see, uh, a veritable desert of whiteness.
Oh, okay.
Absolute
Damn.
caucasity is what we would call it nowadays.
Yes.
The planet was absolutely just
A
Caucasian.
barren desert of whiteness, or the Midwest.
Yeah. But I am glad that she had a snow outfit though. Like they made her
Yeah, I was
wasn't like a
grateful.
also I kind of like that like that silver like weird. It was kind of like a centurion like the way she had like those little, like tassels at the
Yeah.
bottom of her vest and like the silver gloves. Also, but however, do want to point out silver high heels as well.
She still, that's in my notes too. She still had high heels on in the
She was
snow.
hiking with
Yeah.
high heels on. Also,
Yeah.
that vest does make a comeback at the end of the movie. I don't know
Yes.
if you guys noticed that. It's just I'm like I don't know if this is supposed to be the same one or they're just reusing a prop. But like
The transparent spacesuit makes a comeback.
Yeah.
And so does the bikini underneath it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
But like something that kind of that confuses me in that on that ice planet is they're like they they realize they need to turn back
Yep.
because their power packs are running low.
Yeah. Then
So
they just
she's
pinch
like,
him.
let's get rid of them.
Yeah, I know that too. I was like, what the? Like, am I just not putting two and two together? What? That doesn't sound like a good idea.
I'm I'm still like trying to figure out what the lot is. It that they're heavy and that it's not worth it? What?
I
It
guess.
seems to me like you should and I don't and like why does he have like shouldn't he give you his cuz he's a robot. He's not going to be affected by the cold. So why I did nothing about that moment makes any sense.
Yeah.
Much like a lot of the film.
God, the movie.
But that
Yeah.
one especially. Yeah. That especially make just my head hurts trying to figure out what the process was there. And then like that whole moment that scene in the film just has a lot of like it has a lot seems like a lot of ideas that they meant to introduce us to but just decided so like the ship has a brain.
I was gonna say that I
Yeah.
have a note here that the ship's computer is represented like the ship's because they refer to it as the computer, but it's just a big brain. like
Yeah, that was
Okay.
weird.
like interesting choice, I guess, but like I can understand it to some extent.
Yeah, and then like he's just like playing with his squiggles
Yeah.
in the ship later.
Yeah, like a fucking child, and then you see like in every other scene after that, he's like this weird badass. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, bro, decide what characterization you're gonna go for. Like, I mentioned in my notes at some point that like I guess he fits in with like the beware the silly ones trope. But then like he
Yeah.
doesn't even get another moment of silliness, so it's just kind of a weirdly out of
Intentionally.
character moment. Unless he's just
Yeah.
like bored. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And like he like in that moment they establish because I don't remember this. That's what I'm talking about. This moment where they drop the power packs, it's like everything goes off the rails, more off the rails than it
Yeah.
already was. That like when did they establish he was an alien? Was it at that moment? Like he calls him a pathfinder, and I'm like, wait, he's an alien and a pathfinder? Did they establish either of those two things prior to
like,
that moment?
Again, he was sort of like as a navigator, but I was just sort of under the impression that he's just kind of like a force user. Like that's what they call like
Yeah.
our not force is whatever the Acton is.
Yeah.
Like he's the Obi-Wan, I suppose, is like what
Yeah.
the movie's trying to like get. But
he
like
he can weirdly see the future.
yeah, he can see the future. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. He can see the future and he knows what happens. like
Here's the thing.
yeah.
When she asks him, "Why didn't you tell me?" and he's like, "Well, because using that power is illegal."
It's against the law. Yeah.
You're freaking smugglers.
You're already breaking the law.
You're already constantly under pursuit from these same two guys. What?
God, there's so many small things I just didn't even register as like dumb. Because I was being hit with so much dumb shit at once.
Yeah, as I said, this is a movie where everything happens quickly and nothing happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like So then we established that Thor, who I was under the impression that before this moment that L was like an assistant droid to Thor, the green guy. But then I'm just
Right.
like, are they partners? Are they
Are they
like
lovers?
are they from are they from separate agencies that maintain the law? But no, L is the policeman. I don't know
Right.
what the fuck Thor is supposed to be. Like,
That's right. They were in separate ships when they initially pursued them.
no, I think they were in the same. Okay, so but no, so Thor is the chief of the Imperial State. So okay, no, he is L's superior, but
Okay.
like then he's like he turncoats, and I don't know if this is a recent development or if he's always been a plant. But he's like, I'm on the Count side, and he's like, I'm going to kill you, Acton, and he just hits him with a stick. Like he's like,
Yeah.
I have killed Acton. He's dead. I hit him with a tube.
Oh, and I
Like,
don't know if you all noticed this, but
yeah.
like, did y'all like? It's at this moment that I realized that Stella Star. I mean, she's kind of a Melania looking type person. She's kind of got that,
Yes.
that. But I didn't realize how much she looked like Melania until she actually used the words "be best."
I was trying to like her voice is very familiar to me. Like I don't
Yeah,
know why, but like there's something about Stella Star's voice that I'm just like it might honestly be like she kind of sounds like maybe just like general like
I'm
actresses
wondering.
in old movies.
I'm
But
wondering
like
if it's even her voice because like she's voiceover the whole film.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so. But
And the
like
Yeah,
dubbing's so bad in some scenes. Like,
yeah.
okay,
Jesus.
I will be completely honest. Like is this movie like is this is originally in Italian, right? Like
It's not. Well, she's speaking English.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
like
I don't know
it's
if
like
they shot like I
I
don't know
didn't
if they
notice the
shot the
dubbing.
same scenes in Italian, but
Yeah.
they're dubbing their English word. Like no one's ever speaking not English in this film. Everyone's
Yeah.
speaking English.
Like
So,
I was just watching this and I was like, I don't
yeah.
see I didn't have any issues with like the dubbing or like ADR. Like I didn't pick up on any of that. But I'm just like what is this? Like so then Thor gets killed because how does he die again? Like, oh, he gets
Uh
his ray gun gets redirected at him by Acton. Do you
yeah.
remember that? He's
Yeah,
like, and now
he
these rays will be your doom. And then
he rayed him. Yeah.
yeah,
These deadly rays.
yeah,
I in my
Oh,
notes I put he rayed him, but REY
yeah,
from Star Wars because that's what she did.
yeah.
Yeah, he rayed him. He just
Oh,
deflected
yeah.
his lasers back somehow.
And like while they're
yeah.
still on this ice planet, sorry.
I was just gonna say about that. Like during that whole scene, I ended up like my mind immediately connected it to like whenever we see Captain Kirk fight in the original Star Trek series, and I'm like,
Hmm.
compared to Kirk, who was very much like, oh, you can tell this is an experienced brawler. Like this dude is
Yeah.
so bad at punching and kicking, and like I think there was a I in my notes I was like, is this intentional? Like, is this meant to show his inexperience and stuff? But then like he
Mm.
ends up being this big dick badass later on, and I'm like, maybe it was just the actor not being that good at physically showcasing like fighting skills. Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
uh,
I don't think they had a stunt coordinator on this show.
yeah, I
yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah, at
Like,
Oh,
all.
yeah,
and one more thing I noticed, just a small thing, rewinding back a bit to when they were like at the um mining thing when she was stuck in a bikini. Uh,
mhm.
do you know what the energy source that they were going for was called?
I
Radiant.
can't. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
The same shit that's used like that the Apocalyptians of the New Genesis. I've never been able to pronounce it right. New Genesisians in DC are vulnerable to. Considering how like
Uh,
people always say that like oh Star Wars was ripped in some capacity from the New Gods, I just found that really funny. Like it would be an accident, but like goddamn, I just
this
imagine.
movie has yeah, this movie has a bunch of coincidences.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, during this scene, it's when Acton uses his space magic to revive Stella to heat her up. We
Mhm.
get our first two that I noticed. Our first two star wipes. Uh, I say star wipes. Like there's a line that goes across. It's not the same because it's not that clean line. You can very like with Star Wars, it's like there's very clearly like a like
Yeah.
a barrier that goes across, which is like it reminds me of like old Nickelodeon shows like Drake and Josh, like
Yeah.
the way that they transition between scenes.
Oh yeah.
So
Like
yeah,
the first
yeah,
Star Wars looks like Lucas had a copy of Windows Movie Maker
yeah,
because he uses he doesn't just use like later on he tones down, he just uses like one directional wipes from left,
yeah,
right, up, down. But in that movie, I think there's like a diamond wipe and a
yeah.
blinds wipe. Like yeah, he's
I have to wonder how they got Crystal Plummer to agree to this movie. Because, like,
There is actually a story about that.
oh, is that?
Yeah, it's because of where they were filming. It's because they were filming in Rome, and I'm going to have to pull up the interview what he said. If I look up Christopher. Okay, so this is Chris. So this is basically somebody interviewing him about his roles, and it says Starcrash 1978, The Emperor. Christopher Plummer breathlessly, Starcrash. Oh my God! There are two things I can say about that. One, give me Rome any day. I'll do porno in Rome as long as I can get to Rome. He laughs. Getting to Rome was the greatest thing that happened in that for me. I think it was only about 3 days in Rome on that one. It was all shot at once. And the girl, what's her name? Monroe? The interviewer says Carolyn Monroe. Carolyn Monroe. She was something incredible to look at. That was a great pleasure too. But beyond those two things, I mean, how can you play the Emperor of the Universe? What a wonderful part to play. It puts God in a very dicey moment, doesn't it? He's very insecure, God, when the Emperor's around.
Incredible.
I was
So,
really hoping we'd get to that quote because I
okay.
love that quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I do
Unapologetically
porno in
horny.
Rome.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
So
Jesus.
good.
But yeah, that's another great thing that I discovered in my Starcraft research was Christopher Plummer basically being like, yeah, it was in Rome, so I went. And also I guess Carolyn Monroe, I believe, is it's Stella. So,
Just the whole "I would shoot a porno in Rome" thing
yeah,
is like
like
one of the best
that
quotes
that is
ever.
I wonder if anyone ever tried to take him up on that offer.
Yeah.
Mr. Plummer, do you want to be in porn? What? It's in Rome. Ah, yes, of course. Also worth noting, the interview that I just cited came out. I mean, like came out in 2013. So like this is old man Christopher Plummer, perfectly willing to be like, yeah, no, like as long as I get to Rome.
You hear that, Pornhub? You can get some classic GILF material right here.
The
Yeah,
third planet, which is
before we leave the ice planet, I would like to know how tactile cryogenesis works.
I
Because
don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry.
like tactile telekinesis for whatever reason makes sense for me. Like
Yeah.
Superboy,
Yeah.
basically Superman. You touch something, you extend your telekinesis. You touch something, telekinesis. Obviously, you just have to touch something for your telekinesis to work.
Yep.
But how does touching someone and keeping them from not getting hella frostbite?
Like, the only way I could explain it is that, like, he's passing on, like, the heat from his body onto her via touch, which sounds way more,
Yeah, that's way weirder.
He could have
yeah,
just cuddled her and got the same effect.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So in my notes I have what is that, liquid? And I'm not really sure um what that
Um,
relates to.
what is that liquid?
Is that
Uh,
oh, there's an effect in the film that
right.
I think when they get attacked by the blood platelets again, there's like one sequence that looks like something's just being poured
Yeah,
in
yeah,
front of
yeah, yeah.
a green screen, like,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of gross looking, and it's just for like 1 second, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, why?
I also want to point out, since we're talking about them getting attacked by the red things, everyone is in pain, but like the noise that L is making, he's manually changing his voice to go like up and down. He's like, "I am free." Like he's like, it's like he goes from like a baritone to a falsetto. Like, do you guys know that's like he's bugging out because of the red things? Like, it was probably my favorite bit from the movie. L
I
is
don't
just
remember that.
he's losing it. But yes, and then they crash on our third planet. Star
Yeah, and
Wars move
he
over.
says we've just survived the most deadly weapon in the galaxy.
Yeah,
That's lame. That's kind of the
yeah,
lame. Like
yeah.
wouldn't a weapon that just like blows stuff up be way more effective?
I mean, they have that, don't they? Because they have two weapons. They have the alien weapon, but I'm sure there was a second one on that planet, because they make a point, because the Amazonian Queen mentions two weapons, and
Okay.
the red hallucinations are one. Spoiler
Okay.
alert, I guess, for the end of the movie. They're not actually, they're just hallucinations caused by
Right.
constantly running computers or whatever. But then they
Yeah.
crash on this planet, and then there's just a bunch of cavemen who like
Yeah.
Yeah,
up like really bad. Like
Yeah.
I love how
he
they
gets
can jump.
destroyed. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so over the top. The,
Yeah.
like the slow-mo jumping. Like, bro, like,
Doesn't
like,
one actually like fall out of the sky to try and grab Stella?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
He just like he does a cartwheel from the ledge beside her, grabs her by
Yeah.
the shoulders, and then just like keeps going.
I
Yeah,
will
like
say it did get uncomfortable for a second when they were all like surrounding her and grabbing onto her. I was like, oh god, where's this
Right.
going? Thankfully, David Hasselhoff showed up.
yeah.
But still,
Hoff in
Yeah.
his
fucking
in
goofy
his
mask.
And
yeah.
his mask and his very episode 3 Anakin outfit. Did you
Yeah.
guys get that? It looked very like Revenge of the Sith.
So like Hasselhoff's and Acton's outfits are actually not bad.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, they're fine.
yeah.
I think they actually have like kind of a nice little stylistic look to them. Everything's V-shaped and kind of has a cod piece,
Yeah.
but yeah, sort of a
Like
cod piece.
like we also get another star wipe with the Hoff. Like we get another one. Like this is
Right.
where the third star wipe is, to my knowledge.
And
Like
this is where the movie really gets its star power going. When they bring the Hoff in. Yeah.
yeah. And then
I just wrote
yeah.
he's here.
Yeah. Cuz like he rescues Stella from the cavemen, but then they get ambushed by
Yeah.
more cavemen, and then Acton comes in, and this is where we get, you know.
The A New Hope poster. We literally get the A New Hope poster with the blue lightsaber up in the air
Yeah.
against Shadow. All he needed was Stella clinging to his leg at that moment,
Yeah.
because it was an absolute recreation of the A New Hope poster.
Yeah, like how the man? Like I saw him pull up the fucking lightsaber thing, and I was just like, oh wow, they're dropping all pretenses now, aren't they? Sick. Okay, good.
Like the laser effects in this movie are so, like, every single laser gun looks bad, but like the lightsaber, it looks like someone's like manually like it looks like it's like just been painted on the frames, because it never comes out directly from the hilt of what Acton is holding.
No, yeah,
Like,
the rotoscoping is not even making an attempt at being too precise.
so,
Yeah.
and like
Just to rewind just a bit, because
yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts on this lightsaber, but
Okay,
just to
yeah.
rewind just a bit, um, what were the bones of the made of that the cavemen were using? Because like L took a direct shot from an Amazonian laser blast and
Yeah.
he was fine, but he was completely wrecked by caveman bones.
Maybe they drink a lot of milk. whatever those
Yeah.
animals were.
Yeah, I mean, he's completely wrecked by just a couple of blunt force. Blunt force trauma was L's weakness.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
apparently.
that. But yeah, so apparently he's dead. And then we get
Apparently.
to, and then we, but yes,
Thank God.
the laser sword lightsaber, just that's makes the worst sound ever. It's just like it's like some guy going like they didn't even try to make it sound cool.
Yeah.
It's just it's the sound. Ugh. It is, and it's like really short. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I don't know what you call that fencing technique that
Mhm.
he was using. I guess it's just swing your arms really hard at whatever's nearby.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, it's just terrible in every sense of the word. I mean, they tried, but they didn't.
Like, and then
Yeah.
they go and they find that, like, they find again the computers that create the monsters or whatever.
The
And
Bionicle,
then,
yeah.
yeah, and then
Oh
the
no, no,
Bionicles,
that create the blood platelet. Yeah, the
yeah, they
blood
create
platelets.
and then the Count comes in. Danny's favorite character, one of Danny's favorite characters. We see the Count again, right?
Count Ron Jeremy. Yes.
Yeah, like, and then you guys notice this, right? But then the lightsaber is green.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I noticed that and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's in my notes. The lightsaber changed color.
like, I said his lightsaber can be blue and green. This is
Truly,
a
babe.
power nobody has.
And like they didn't even have a green lightsaber in Star Wars yet.
Yeah,
So it's just like
they wouldn't have had one until '83. This
this
is
movie
4 years ahead.
was weirdly prophetic of Star Wars in its attempt to rip it off. Strangely prophetic in its attempt to rip it off.
Jesus.
This is
Like with
when
the whole
some this is when some like big detractor of the prequels and sequels comes in and is like, see, this is why the original trilogy is the only pure Star Wars.
yes.
All the other installments are just low rent versions that were just ripping off other material. They are weak. They are
Starcrash.
inferior.
So like did any of you understand what was happening with the lightsaber duel between the robots at all?
No. I was like, why
No.
isn't he just cutting through him? Like,
Yeah.
why is it so difficult? Like,
If
Well, I
the
was
swords are
thinking,
made of Beskar steel, then why aren't the Bionicle?
I was thinking, why wasn't he using his goddamn powers?
his squiggly lines could have helped here.
Come on, man. You have powers. Use them.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Like
and
like
then,
at one point one of the robot's wrist spins
yeah.
like in a close up
Yeah.
for no real apparent reason. It's just like, hey, look,
Like,
their wrists can spin.
I'll be like honest, like this finale completely like it didn't lose me, more so just the fact that I lost it and I was like, I just stopped paying attention. Like, cause then after this, then Christopher Plummer is like, I can stop time. Go
Oh,
the
that
world.
bullshit.
I can stop time for 1 minute. So then
I
Three
love-
minutes. 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. But like he's like the planet
wait.
explodes in 45 seconds and he's like, I can stop it. But while he is like, is time stopped right now? Like, are you already stopping it? Like, you should all be dead right now. Like,
If it stops time, why are you able to move?
listen, this is a discussion that has been had by many different fandoms for many different reasons.
And
All I
if
know is
time
that
is
Christopher
stopped,
Plummer has a stand.
and if time is stopped, then
Yeah.
how is it for 3 minutes? Whose perspective is the
Again,
3 minutes?
This is a thing. This is why you need to get into JoJo, Mark. This is the exact
Oh.
conversation they have.
Oh, you were gonna get broken by so many things, Mark.
But,
I
like,
can't wait.
so like, he stops time for 3 minutes because he's been lured because his son
Was the Hoff.
was
Yeah.
the Hoff. And so then they escape and then they get to it. And like my thing is that like Stella is like none of the main characters are in the ships. Like they're just they're just watching as starfighters go by until the very end.
Pretty
Like,
much, yeah. They're not
Yeah.
involved in the battle that's gonna
yeah,
fail.
like
But
the starships are screaming. They're like,
and keep it,
like, what the
Can I
fuck?
rewind for a
but
second?
yeah,
Just to say about the reveal that Hasselhoff is the Emperor's son. I'm
Yeah.
like they frame that as something that like, oh, I'm sorry I didn't tell you, Stella. It's like we've known you for like 10 minutes. Why the do we care? Why the would she care? I
trust you. Like, yeah, we're not that close, so it's
yeah,
perfectly understandable
I
that
got
you would.
that fucking annoyed the shit out of me.
But yeah, I also wanted to mention that I have a question. How is Acton, I guess, an alien with differing biology, so that a sword wound is a arm wound is fatal?
Oh yeah, that's right. Because he gets
Yeah,
hit in the arm, and he dies. Of course.
Yeah, he just
it
got cut
turns
like
into energy.
right,
I
right.
wonder if like that means his human form is like encasing like sentient energy or something that like dispels out into the universe or some
He
shit.
is the squiggly line. That's his true form.
Yes, that's
So
canon.
basically, he can see the future, but he can't do anything with it.
He doesn't choose to. It's like, so he accepted that he would die, I guess. But like, you
From the
don't
God.
really
arm wound.
understand. Like, you could have had a moment during the fight where it like zooms in on Acton's face, and he like sort of looks shocked, but then like continues on anyways. Like, oh, he's realized where this is gonna go. But like, you
Yeah,
don't get that. Like, you could have made that like a decent moment of him. Like, he stops, he looks over at Stella, and he's like, okay, yeah, well, like,
I guess
you've got to go
Pathfinders have like a femoral artery in their right arm,
there.
so
As
Also,
yeah, of course.
in that scene, like when the Emperor's talking, not the Emperor, like the main bad guy's talking to them,
yeah,
like
used car Dracula. Yeah.
yeah, like you have a shot of him like putting some like of the navigator guy putting something behind his back or something. Did that
Hmm.
actually did that actually mean anything? I don't think it
No,
did. Like
I'm not
what
No,
sure.
say that again. Say that again. Say that again, because
like I keep forgetting names. Uh, the navigator guy, energy,
Acton. Yeah.
yeah, Acton. He he put you have a shot of him like putting something behind his back, like with his hands, like
Oh,
as he's leaving, and I don't think that actually ends up mattering. Uh,
Is this while he's dying, or when they're talking to the count?
when they're talking to the count, I'm unless I'm completely imagining things.
I think they edited the frack out of this movie, so there's a lot of things that didn't get established or resolved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
because it looked like he was like hiding a weapon or something behind him. Uh, but
a
like
squiggly line.
also, God, uh, like there's supposed to be a big passage of time, right? Like between and like they don't show really like showcase the passage of time at all, which,
No. Yeah.
which is I was just like, what the because like they go from saying it's about you have to wait an hour to like, oh, we've got like 3 minutes to escape or something. No, 45
Yeah.
seconds to escape, and then they delay it by 3 minutes. And I'm just like, what the show me the passage of time, please. Like it has to be one of the easiest things for a filmmaker to do.
Oh, I just realized I had a note here from
Yeah.
when Acton was dying. Apparently, Stella said to him, "I don't understand. You never die."
Wait, um, did you say that? Oh, hell. This
Uh,
fucking movie, man.
it's great, but yeah, again,
I
like
didn't.
the
Yeah, I did.
finale is just nothing until they hold to maneuver it. I guess like
Oh,
they,
So the final well, second to final battle, because
yeah,
there's one ultimate penultimate. This is the penultimate battle.
yes,
So where they're attacking the giant hand in space and it
yep,
closes to a fist, I think.
yeah,
Um, And in my notes, I described the giant hand as if Michael Bay had designed a Game Boy. It's just needless detail
Yeah.
in the shape of a hand. Um,
Oh god.
and it's like, um,
But like, whose was the hand? Was the hand the heroes? Because I was under the impression that it was, because
it was
that's
the
the same.
Counts. No, it
No,
was
but
the Counts.
why did we see the hand then? Or because it was a scene where we saw the count, I guess, talking. Because I
Yeah,
wasn't sure who
the
the hand
count
belonged
was on
to.
the giant black
Okay.
fist. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
So
because that's why they're shooting those golden phallic photons
Right.
with guys inside. They're shooting them at the hand,
Mm-hmm.
and the
yeah,
Yeah.
guys come out. And it breaks through the glass, and I guess they have those force fields that prevent energy from
Yeah.
prevent the vacuum of space coming in. So or blowing the air out. Is it the vacuum of space? I think it forces it ways. I think that's scientifically
Mm-hmm.
correct because
Right.
this movie was so scientifically accurate.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that whole entire battle is possibly the definition of a lot of things happen and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
they really leaned into that
I
philosophy
just
for that final
don't
battle.
like I wasn't paying attention. It completely lost me. I checked
There
my
was
phone.
nothing to
I was
pay
like, what
attention
time is
to.
it?
No,
Like,
yeah,
there's literally nothing happens except the
yeah.
same things over and over again. For starters, like they just cut back and forth to
Yeah.
outer space ships that you're not really sure who belongs to what.
Yeah.
Um,
'Cause
soldiers
yeah,
fighting on board Count
'cause,
Chocula's
like,
ship,
the thing about
and
yeah,
the main characters just staring in awe.
yeah,
That's the only two
'cause,
things that
yeah,
happen.
even, like, the thing about the heroes and the villains is that they have the same fucking outfits, but they're different colors.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
the
it.
oh,
ones like, they have the same helmets, but they're
yeah. I
Yeah,
just
got confused as to who was whose soldiers for a moment,
yeah.
which was fun.
Because
But
I'm pretty sure the
also,
black and reds aren't the counts, because those are the ones that we see get fucked up in the intro. But the count is black and red, because it's like black and red and fully black. Those are the
well,
factions. It's like, what the is this?
I
Like,
think that yeah, they may have
I,
screwed up on that one because
yeah,
like
and a lot.
the count they report to the count right just before they introduce the bionicle robots. They inform the count that we got a guy back from the mission, but his brain is completely damaged.
right.
So that was right after they rescued that guy from the pods. So they kind of muddled that scene, making it seem like they found one of his
Y-
men,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it was actually the Emperor who had sent that ship.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Like,
That's probably just a continuity, like a
yeah.
big continuity error that doesn't really improve
Because,
the film
I
if they fix
demand
it.
consistent law. Uh,
oh,
Yeah,
I guess also, like, before, because they decide they have to go launch the city at
yeah,
the giant hand. So then
yeah.
what they do
That's the
is
final battle.
they
Yeah,
reveal, they do the
do
big
the
reveal.
title drop.
Even, yeah, cool. They're like, we have to do the Starcrash, and I was like, hell yeah. What's the
yeah.
CinemaSins thing? Roll credits.
Yeah.
But then they're like, but that's not all, Stella. We've rebuilt him. He's stronger, better, faster, harder. It's L. And he's like, hey, it's me, I'm back. I'm here. I got my nice little accent. We're gonna go save the day. Oh
Okay.
boy, I've got to get your little bikini spacesuit on. Like,
Yep.
And that's when I broke.
that's
Yeah.
when I was like, let's go. They know
So
they the finale has been saved.
So I have a few notes from the penultimate battle here.
Yeah.
I have like, why do their weapons have wings? Their handheld weapons
Yep.
have wings for some reason. But something else that I noted about this film is the special effects for outer space. So it's very obvious that they took their models and are moving the models past the camera,
Yep.
Hmm.
which is the Lucasfilm method was to move the camera past the models,
Right.
um, because the models were so large. In this film, you can tell they're not doing that because you can see parts of the models wobble.
Yeah.
and you can tell that some of them are stuck together. And I was able to determine that at least towards the end there that the Count does have kind of winged ships, because they were all pieced together, and every time they moved past the camera, their little wings would flap.
Mhm.
And I also noticed that the screaming from the soldiers dying was awful.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, the fucking screams. Just in
Yeah.
general, like, dying screams in this movie are atrocious. Like, there's
Yeah.
one that's like, oh! And I'm like, what the
Yeah.
dude?
Like, you could have replaced every scream with just the Wilhelm scream, and it would have improved it by 50%.
Yeah. I'm gonna replace
Just
it
the
with
Wilhelm.
goofy screams.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything. It would have made everything better.
Yeah. But
So they
also,
lost that They lost that battle because I guess he finally decided to bring out the robots who are better shots.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah. So that space fight was completely meaningless and
Yep.
unintelligible, and like they rotoscoped lasers coming out of whatever.
Yeah.
my favorite
Like
thing
there's
about,
yeah.
sorry,
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say my favorite thing about that whole like space fight is those blue ships that come through. The first thing I thought when I saw them was, oh, they're the ships from Space Invaders. Like, I'm
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah, like I'm pretty sure this movie came out before Space Invaders did, but still,
I think it came out afterwards, yeah.
oh, okay,
Let's see.
I'd be willing to bet that it did.
yeah, and I was just like, God damn, like those are really similar. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like the director was just playing Space Invaders, or like saw his son playing Space
Yeah.
Invaders and was like, I know what I want my movie to how I want to end my movie. Let's
So
go.
it's
Most definitely.
Same year. Same year as Starcrash Space Invaders came out.
Oh,
Okay, so
damn,
they
incredible.
were on top. They were on top of everything. They were on top of pop culture like
Yeah.
gravy on grits. So the penultimate battle wraps up, and that's when the Count decides they're going to use the Doom Machine. The Doom Machine.
Yeah.
The Doom Machine. So,
Also, like the Count also reminds me very much so of the Master from like old, like that one version of the Master from old Doctor Who. Like he just
Yes,
looks like him a lot to me. Like the
but less well kept.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like
an unkempt master who's hard on his luck.
yeah. I just don't get the ending of the movie. The last thing that Elle and Stella do. I'm just like, what is
Yeah,
this?
you realize what they did.
Like,
They holdo maneuvered
exactly.
the
Like, that's
giant
what I
hand.
said. That's
Yeah,
what my note is. This just the holdo
Star
maneuver?
Crash is
Is
the
the whole
holdo maneuver.
so again, like how much of this predicted green lightsabers in the holdo maneuver,
Yeah,
like by for one of them a few like half a decade, for the other by like 40 years.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Anakin Skywalker-esque
yeah,
costumes. Yes,
yeah,
it's
like
God damn this movie.
Jesus. So, yeah, so then they set the city to crash course into the big hand, and
Mhm.
then count.
The
What
Count.
was the count screaming? I can't remember.
I don't know
They
what he
tell
was saying, but he was just going. He was screaming as he was as the thing blew
his
up,
top
and I was like,
yeah, his top of the world mom moment. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
can't see the
I
movie.
should have written down what he said because
Yeah, it was like
uh
D something. Like it began with a D, I think.
Yeah.
Like
God, I fucking love that. It's like, yes, this is the hamminess I wanted out of you. Thank you,
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
God, I love that.
And like the floating city, like it was very colorful, very airbrushed. You could see where they airbrushed all of the colors onto the ship. Not a bad looking ship design, but city design. But later in like when it's heading for the Big Fist, they tell the Count that there is a floating ship heading their way. Yeah, it's
yeah.
space. That's what all ships do in space.
Yeah. So like and then obviously there's that speech that we talked about earlier Christopher Plummer gift goes at the movie.
It's
Like,
too good for this goddamn movie. What the?
I don't remember it. I was just like, oh, it's like I found it fairly generic. I was just like, it just washed over me. I was like, I don't know what the this is. And then like the credits roll, and again we hear that slightly Star Wars theme. I need to point out to both of you, to the 10 people that will listen to this, if that the first credited actor is Acton, not Stella, who is very obviously the protagonist of the film. But it's
Oh,
Acton goes like it's Acton. It's
whatever.
yeah, it's Marjo Gortner as Acton, and then Stella, and I'm like, come
Oh, that's
on.
fuck.
He
Stella
was
does
in
most
shit for
everything in the movie, and she's the one that delivers the final blow.
Yeah,
She's the one that's featured on the poster.
This
How
fucker
does
died
Acton
like
get
20 minutes before then, too.
yeah,
Like, God,
yeah,
movie.
yeah. Acton. I noticed that, and I was like, that is the this could not be a more perfect credit sequence. Like we've got the guy who allegedly composed, like that's like a debatable thing, but that he did the arrangement and like he conducted, but like the James Bond score. Like,
Yeah,
is it James Barry or something like that? Is that the name of the John Barry? But yeah,
That, that name
like
sounds familiar.
he composed the first 11 James Bond movies. Like he didn't write the theme, but like he was the guy conducting, arranging the orchestra. But again, there is debate apparently between his estate on like, no, actually he did write it. He didn't just like set it up with all the instruments. Like he was the guy who came up with bum bum. It's like, no, but like that's not recognized legally. But it's a fun story, I guess.
so I'm trying to find the final speech
Mm-hmm.
that Plummer did to see if there's a transcript of it, but it's like even the websites that even the websites that hosted the script at one point, their Wayback Machine uh, pages are just giving off errors.
Um,
They're just crashing the Wayback Machine. So I don't know if that's symbolic of anything. Um, like,
oh,
Okay.
I have the speech here. If
did you find it?
I have it, yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's done. It's happened. The stars are clear. The planets shine. We've won. Oh, some dark force, no doubt, will show its face once more. The wheel will always turn, but for now it's calm, and for a little time at least we can rest. That's the speech as according to IMDb quotes, which I figured out where I would find it.
So that speech is like the most, like if you excised that, like I bet you if we
Mhm.
just took Christopher Plummer's scenes and made a trailer out of Starcrash, it would seem like this brilliant science fiction film from the 1970s. Leave out
Yeah.
all the stuff that's kind of Star Wars like, and you just
Uh-huh.
include the nice visuals and stuff.
Like
The
the
girl in
ambient space shots, like
the
to
ambient
show.
space shots, maybe the girl in the bikini, just kind of like establish, oh, this is like a classic 50s, and just have
Yeah,
Plummer reciting those lines, and you think this is a fantastic film.
because
And
Also,
like
leave out Plumber using time powers.
also like I do like the in like that introductory scene to go all the way back. Plummer explains the galaxy to people who live in it. Like he's like the exact line is, "Our galaxy is split into two warring factions, our own and the one ruled by the evil Count Zartharn from the League of the Dark Worlds." Like it gave me huge. I don't know if you guys have seen Gotti, but it gave me huge Gotti vibes where they explain like the mob to John Gotti. Like,
Oh, wasn't
it's
that
like,
that movie that you were obsessed with for like a week, like a year or
yes,
so ago?
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's like he like like they live here. They know they're smugglers. They presumably know about the like at least have a vague idea of the political landscape. Like it's very badly like scripted exposition.
So, just reading a little Wikipedia snippet here, it says in a contemporary review, Variety noted that the film had a weak screenplay and that Coetzee's direction seemed to have no apparent plan. Variety commented that what is surprising for a picture of this genre, however, is the lackluster photography by Paul Beeson and Robert Dia. I would disagree with that, and the special effects. I think that they're
Yeah.
quite believable. He says, and that the photography almost never convinces that this is actually taking place anywhere but on the movie screen, and the special effects seem little than poor imitations of what's been done before. Well, that
Yeah,
is true.
I like the stars. Like I think the
Yeah,
stars look nice, the
I think the
multicolored.
stars look really nice, and like
Yeah.
there is some elaborate set design in this
Mm.
film. Like
Oh
like
yeah,
they
Sideways
didn't
elevator.
yeah, the sideways elevator,
like
the ship that the smuggler's ship,
Yeah.
the
the den for the
courtroom.
cave people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. The computer
Yeah.
room with all of the, I mean, those little electrical glass spheres aren't cheap.
Yeah.
Um, and like somebody built a giant sword for Elle to push over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they spent money on this thing. It's just I wonder what kind of movie I could make with $4 million.
Yeah,
I,
I just wonder.
I'm gonna look up movies with a budget. Hold on, I'm gonna look up what is $4 million uh in 1978 money, like adjusted for inflation.
Adjusted for it, yeah.
Uh, oh shit, this would be a lot. um, this would be a lot. This would be the equivalent if you had the equivalent budget today. You would have $16 million, I believe, if I'm doing the math right.
Oh, jeez.
Because it says $1
damn.
million in 1978 is roughly 4 million today. Like it says 3,995,000. But so yeah, you'd have a budget of $16 million if you had the same budget today, like adjusted for inflation. So like movies with budget of $16 million, and we can like
I'm doing the
understand.
same thing, yeah.
We're gonna see like what we got here. I mean, like $16 million. Well, I was gonna say Joker didn't have that, did it? Joker was 90 million. Uh,
Was it really?
Get Out was made for $4.5 million. Like, so
Wow.
like you could make
Bruh.
4 Get Outs. Moonlight was 4 million. I mean, like you could make like roughly 4 with Get Out. Like you could make exactly 4 Moonlights for the same price as Starcrash.
Yeah.
Saw was made for 1.2 million, so you could make like maybe the entire Saw franchise using the money they made for Starcrash.
So join my Patreon.
Yeah.
And for a mere $4 million, I will make I will reboot Starcrash.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have no movie making experience, but I know a guy. So
Yeah.
You'll get fucking James to play.
pretty much James. I'll have Adam redo the soundtrack.
Maddie gets to play the robot.
Maddie gets to be Acton, actually.
Yeah.
Maddie's.
What are those really lines really made of?
So yeah, so like I knew that we would get we would have a lot to say about this film.
I didn't think
yeah,
we would
I
have
had
like an hour and a half worth
yeah,
of.
I mean, like,
still.
because it's just
it took for a while to get.
yeah, there's just so much to say. There's so much to say about it. It's just
Yeah.
it even though nothing happens, so much of nothing happens that you're just like, what
Yeah.
is this? And why was like why was it so prophetic of future Star Wars films while
Yeah.
ripping off the first one as quickly as possible? How did these things happen? There's I love it, and I am super glad that I forced y'all to sit through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a
This barren
This is
desert
fun.
of whiteness.
I mean, literally, there's no non-white people in this movie.
Not at all. Not even in the background.
Yep, I
Yeah.
noticed that, and I was just like, what the hell? God damn it, 70s.
Like they did film it in Rome. Like,
Yeah.
they're
So
not.
there's that. Yeah.
Fair.
1970s Rome. So
I'm just asking for, like, one black person, man.
I mean, like, would you have preferred no black people, or like Stella goes to the slave planet and it's just her?
No! That was not what I was implying. God damn.
What would you prefer if those were your options? Keep the
Fair
movie
point.
and
and the one last note that I will end the whole thing on,
Yes.
just to point out, is that to defeat the giant robot statue thingy, they shot her in the boobs.
Of course.
Welcome back, programs. So we're moving on to our next segment, which apparently is going to be a regular thing on the show. We're fan casting another fantasy film. Well, not that kind of fantasy film. We're fan casting another MCU movie today. We're going to be doing our takes on the West Coast Avengers. And admittedly, I was like completely unfamiliar with the West Coast Avengers outside of the name. So I did a little research prior to this show to familiarize myself. So
Just a
yeah,
little
so
bit of
I'm set.
research.
Yeah, I read a bunch of comics.
Got some great screenshots for the out of context comics panels.
There's so many quote. I didn't even screenshot everything.
Yeah.
That it just there's so many things said in just the first miniseries alone that I'm just like, well, that doesn't sound right. Without it's it's just it was the 80s.
Tiger
Yeah.
alone is a machine for that sort of thing.
Yeah. So we're gonna go around with we've got our what the structure that we came up with. This was, since there are a number of West Coast Avengers that are already established MCU characters, that we were going to pick our four uh, pre-existing MCU characters to be in the MCU, to be in the West Coast Avengers movie. So I'm gonna start us off with the four MCU characters that I had already chosen. Let me open my notes here. So like, this may seem like, because I'm wasn't very familiar with West Coast Avengers, that I'm just kind of sticking to like the initial team,
Yeah.
but like I'm like kind of big on, like, with Avengers West Coast. I kind of felt the same way. Like, if we had done like an X-Men casting,
Mhm.
like I would kind of like to start the team off in the MCU with more or less the original team, and just kind of
Right.
get creative with the casting. So like I definitely want the team leader, but in this case I would like the team leader to be Iron Man, and this Iron Man be Don Cheadle.
Mhm.
I would like I have a certain amount of respect for the MCU films,
Yeah.
for the MCU TV shows. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So I would like to have Mockingbird,
Yep.
Adrian Palicki's interpretation of Mockingbird, be in it. I'd like Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye to be in it. I think that one might be a fairly repetitive one.
Mhm.
And I would like to have there be a Shield liaison who basically just is with the team all the time,
Right.
functioning with the team, and it'd be Sharon Carter. Kind of
Mm.
give Emily Van
Ooh.
Camp something more to do in the
Yeah.
MCU, because she is a pretty decent actress, and I think she handled the action scenes were really fun, the little bit that we saw. So I want to
Yeah.
see more of her.
Yeah.
More of Peggy's legacy, kind of in the MCU.
Yeah. Good idea.
So
My returning cast members, I decided that, like, I remember when we first talked about the idea of doing the West Coast, it was
Yeah.
started off by, like, with you, Sirius, saying, well, Scott and Hope, they're on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
Like
like,
and Fran.
yeah. And I was like, well, they should be the ones that put this team together.
Mhm.
So, Scott and Hope co-lead my version of the West Coast Avengers.
Oh, okay.
The other two returning members are War Machine.
Right.
I kept him as War Machine instead of making him Iron Man, though I would not be opposed to him being Iron Man either. Either
Mhm.
or,
Yeah.
really. And Hawkeye, but the Hawkeye that I'll be using is Kate. I think she
Oh, okay.
technically counts as a returning character since we know she's going to be in the
Yeah.
MCU. So
Yeah.
yeah, those will be my returning members.
Mhm.
Yeah, because she's basically in a. I mean, like, just because it hasn't come out yet, it's been filmed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And like she would be a returning character by the time this came out, presumably.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
And
but
she is an established MCU character, unless
yeah.
something very strange happens. Yeah. So yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
dies in the first episode.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, like
That's
you
good.
mentioned, Danny, I had sort of mentioned like if they're doing West Coast Avengers in the MCU, I would assume that at least one of them, at least one of Scott and or Hope would be on that team because of the anime movies there in San Francisco. Um, I also did sort of, there was a point where I was like, I could just have it and pretend that WandaVision is going to end okay. And I was like, I could just have it be like power couples like Scott and Hope and Wanda and Vision. And I was
I was
like,
Right.
tempted to
but then
do
I
that.
was
Yeah.
like, I like that. But the roster I ended up deciding on is I said, I guess in terms of a leader, a character that I figured you would have picked, Mark, and I think Danny probably figured I would have picked as well. But
Mhm.
I imagine maybe Mockingbird could be the leader, so, who I also brought in from Agents of Shield, Adrian Palicki.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
maybe she's rejoined Shield and or Sword or whatever, and she's sort of, they're like, you're gonna go do something out here, but so you've got, so I've said Mockingbird, I've said Scott Lang's Ant-Man, Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, and
Mhm.
I mentioned this to Danny yesterday, but I ended up putting the U.S. Agent on my team from the
Mm.
Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
Because again, we don't know what that is going to go, but I'm just going to pray that he doesn't die and or become like an irredeemable villain. Like at least, at the
Yeah.
very least, I hope like if he's about as bad as Bucky, that'll be fine because Bucky's redeemed now, Um,
Right. Yeah.
but like again, like because again, just like that's what I thought it would be an interesting dynamic. I think you could also tie it in like maybe this one is more tied to the government for whatever reason. Like maybe the normal Avengers are less. They've been a bit like freed from the shield shackles, but the West Coast, they're like Mockingbird, U.S. agent, get in there. Sort of like you like now like the West Coast are the feds kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see there. I've sent the image of like just like a very cheap mock-up of what more so like just like what U.S. agent could look like. Like I just changed his blue to black, which I think looks decent. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's sort of like my returning four.
I want to make one of these now. With everyone's
Yeah,
roster. Yeah. Yeah. That actually sounds like fun.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. These are all good and compelling. Actually.
Mhm.
I wouldn't object to any of those.
Yeah,
Um, so like I toyed with the idea of making Mockingbird team leader there for a little while too,
yeah.
before I settled on Iron Man Cheadle.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think either way would work.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, great. So we've got our established MCU characters. So now we move on to our completely introduced into the MCU, probably
Mhm.
new characters. So I'll start with the most obvious one and the one that kind of has the biggest, most question mark on his head. Wonder Man, because as we were discussing earlier,
Yes.
we're not really sure if Wonder Man counts as already having a his MCU debut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, Nathan Fillion played him in the MCU, but none of those minor background cameos ever or
Yeah.
actually made it into a final cut. He
Hmm.
was seen on a number of movie posters as an actor in a bunch of films. So, yeah, I'll just say that I decided to just kinda, go as much as I love Nathan Fillion,
Hmm.
and he's probably gonna be hysterical, in, um, The Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
because if he's playing who I think he's playing, but I'm gonna go a bit younger, kind of like a Wonder Man who's, like, doing the movie thing where he's like a stunt man, stunt
Yeah.
double actor, where and since he's invulnerable, he gets a lot of gigs as a stunt man, and just I'm going with Tyler Posey. Um, Tyler Posey is the probably most well known for when he was a bit younger as a Teen Wolf.
Oh,
But
okay.
he's a bit more of a he's a bit grown now.
Hmm. Yeah.
um, and like he's kind of formidable looking, and I think he would make a pretty cool looking Wonder Man. He's a pretty decent actor,
Hmm.
and I think he could play an actor.
Yeah.
As odd as that sounds, but also like I think he's got a good look for it, and just like Latino, just trying
Yeah.
to add some.
So I also went with Wonder Man, and I mentioned this to Sirius last night, but I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, f- it. It's cheating, I know, but I want Nathan Fillion as Wonder Man in this.
Yeah,
Uh, I, I, I was
I
just,
mean, I don't blame you.
yeah, like, I just, I fucking love Nathan Fillion. I like Wonder Man as a character, so
Mhm.
it was like a no-brainer for me. Uh, so yeah, just have him in there. Um, I get a feeling that WandaVision might do something with Wonder Man
Yeah.
and like Grim Reaper sooner rather than later.
Hmm.
Cause like there's been a couple visual hints spread throughout the episodes,
Yeah.
but like uh ideally for this it's like he shows up in at like right around the end of WandaVision. Um,
Hmm.
I guess powerless at this point. Gets his powers
Right.
at some point later on, and then like he joins the West Coast Avengers properly as Wonder Man. Uh,
Hmm.
that's probably how to do it.
I guess like with mine, I didn't I assumed that with the three that I've chosen, I don't think I step on your guys' toes too much because I
Mhm.
didn't choose Wonder Man. I didn't choose one that I know Danny did. But I guess for my first one, I actually cast a Firebird, um,
Oh,
who is the
okay.
she's the female superhero.
I also cast
Um,
Firebird.
Latina. Okay. Yeah. I have a Firebird and I was like, I don't know many, at least like actresses that I realize are like Latina. like,
Same.
Right.
because I was looking at a list and I was like, wait, do these count? But I was like Firebird, like, and more so just, haven't read much of her, if any, if I'm completely honest. But like,
Mm.
again, I know she's a character, but like, I'm not overly familiar. But I thought Michelle Rodriguez should be like she should be a
Oh, yeah.
superhero. like
Yeah.
like how has she not been a superhero yet? Like at least to my knowledge, she hasn't been. But like Michelle
Yeah.
Rodriguez as this like fire based super like I just it's more to like a thing of like a perfect opportunity to get her into the MCU as like a a notably like Latina. Um
Yeah.
yeah, so that's sort of mine is Michelle Rodriguez Firebird.
I I read a completely unsubstantiated article
Hmm.
that said that Michelle Rodriguez was difficult to work with,
Ah.
which is why she got removed from the cast of NCIS New York so
Hmm.
abruptly. Um, I don't know if that's true,
Yeah.
and generally I'm reluctant to spread rumor or whatnot,
Hmm.
but I like for whatever is going on behind the scenes, Michelle Rodriguez is like just really good at everything she does,
Yeah.
even if it's minor. Like I liked her character on NCIS New York.
Yep.
Her character, just that little brief role that she has in Avatar,
Yep.
is
That's what I was thinking of.
rather compelling.
Yeah.
I'm just
Like,
like she's really good at making something out of nothing.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I agree with you there. That would she definitely. should be in the MCU, provided hopefully all of that rumor is just
Just
a
true.
misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I hope so.
So
So yeah, that's great. I don't object to any of the like I wouldn't have a problem with any of those castings either.
Mhm.
I did not pick Firebird for anyone,
Mhm.
but at the risk of like doubling up when Danny gets his turn, at the risk of casting two characters he picked, um, I'm just gonna go ahead with my Tigra.
and
Mhm.
that's free.
Yeah.
Unpredictable.
uh, so like I wasn't real familiar with Like I've known Tiger as a character for years, but I hadn't read a lot with her until I did this West Coast research,
Mhm.
and I was like, yeah, Tiger is actually kind of interesting. I'd love to see her in the MCU.
Mhm.
So I had a little difficulty with it, and I think ultimately I'm going to get a little flack for additional redhead erasure. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, my Tigra would be Gabrielle Union. Um,
Mm.
Gabrielle Union, if you don't know, is she is from her very first thing. She was one of the black teenagers from across town in Bring It On, the ones who
Mm.
came in to the white girl school and were like, "You stole our routines." Um, but like more significantly, she's like had several television series, and she's made several movies, most of which are dramas.
Mhm.
So I know she can handle the dramatic stuff really well. But I like 2018 she did this film that I still need to see, but I've seen the trailer of, where she plays a mom who has to defend her she has to defend this home that her dad left to her, that's like it has an odd amount of security. It can turn into like a little fortress, and she doesn't know why, but unfortunately the reason why the dad has it takes over the house, traps her kids inside, and she has to fight to get her kids back. And like the
Mhm.
little bit of sequences I saw her where she's having to be a badass, she's
Mhm.
selling it completely.
Mhm.
And just like, oh yes, I like absolutely, like I'd love for Gabrielle Union to be a superhero.
Mhm.
And Tigra, pff, she's physically capable of playing Tigra.
Yeah.
She's got the moves. So yeah. All right.
Danny, you there?
Oh
So
yeah, sorry.
Okay.
yeah,
Um,
that's all right.
I blacked out in rage at the idea of getting a black person to play a redhead. No, like every white nerd on the internet, apparently. Trust black redheads don't exist. But no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, um, like seriously, just guys, like, no, but like, there are so many people that get mad at that stuff, and it's like, people can dye their hair, right? Or if
Yeah.
Yeah.
you want that red hair on there, uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean, what's her name has red hair in Titans, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I was gonna say, so for my Firebird and Tigra, Firebird, I have the exact same issue Sirius has, where it's like, I don't know that many like Latina actors.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
but the first one that jumped to my mind uh, was Selena Gomez.
Mm.
I I was thinking, all right, so I had a thing for Selena Gomez as a kid on Wizards of Waverly Place. I really
Right.
want her to get the same sort of like Hollywood redemption arc as Zendaya's gotten in the past few years, thanks to
Right.
her role in Spider-Man.
Right.
And I genuinely think that she could pull it off. I just,
Mhm.
I just want her to give her that shot. Uh,
Yeah.
it's it's a very weak choice, admittedly. Like, especially after hearing you say Michelle Rodriguez, I should have. In hindsight, that is like the better option. But yeah,
I've never gotten to see Selena Gomez act as an adult. I haven't seen her recent stuff, but it seems like mostly what she's in is Hallmark holiday specials.
I
So and I was commenting on that the other day when I was like, Selena Gomez in another holiday special? I mean, like, if that's what she wants to do,
Yeah.
great, more power to her. But like, is this really like after all that, popularity after the Disney stuff and just being attached to Bieber for all those years, is it just
Yeah.
is this it? Is this your reward?
yeah.
I feel like she probably has greater range than all that, but
Yeah.
The only movie I know she was in was like Spring Breakers, I think it was called.
Oh, okay.
And it's
right,
like,
Right.
yeah.
uh, I
Where everybody was like, she's too young to be in Spring Breakers. Like, I think she's like 21, bruh. So
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
It's tough.
But yeah, I was just like, I, I think like Firebird is one of those characters where it's like, obviously she'll have like her fan base like every character does, but
Mhm.
like I think like Selena could do whatever she wants with her and like just
Right.
get to
Yeah.
experiment a bit and like not too many people will be too bothered. Uh,
hmm
I look forward to Firebird Stand 775 Green but
I mean, it could be like an issue with because like a lot of Latin actresses, it just they don't seem to get to do much. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you have Ava Mendes, who's like really a killer actress, but like there's some really good ones out there. Like there was a whole TV show full of them called Devious Maids. It was produced by the Latina actress that worked on that was in Desperate Housewives. She
Right.
she worked with Mark Cherry to make basically a similar type of series, but about a series of maids who worked in LA who whose primary job was working as a maid, but they had like these lives that you wouldn't have thought about otherwise, and
Mhm.
it kind of did that like a soap. What if it's a soap opera but it's good?
Oh,
uh
okay.
type thing, like what Desperate Housewives did, which actually like I actually like recommend that series like
hmm
strongly to most people
Okay.
because it's actually like really good. I sort of liken it to um like, you know how Daft Punk does house music, but it's good house music?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I
Where
got
it's like
I got
it
it.
doesn't matter if you're into house, you kind of like Daft Punk.
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
kind of like that. It's like it's a soap opera, but it's made like for everybody to watch. It's like made to be good, a good soap opera. And
hmm
I'm like, yeah, that's why I recommend it to people because it's a great story. And Devious Maids was like that, but that was full of a ton of Latina actresses that I've been seeing over the years that don't
Okay.
get the real credit that they deserve. They don't get the roles they should be
Yeah.
getting. So yeah, I could totally see that it's like something like that with like Selena or Michelle or anything like
hmm
that, where they're just they need more exposure.
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
just
Yeah.
in general, I think I feel bad for like that Disney style like crowd, like the people that like spend their childhood and teen years just like being manufactured by the hyper corporate Disney machine, always in the
hmm
spotlight, and then they just kind of get thrown out once they hit like 21, uh,
Yeah.
and have a very mixed career. Um, uh, like I think Miley Cyrus has finally like managed to get herself on her feet properly, which is neat.
hmm
And obviously, like Zendaya's handling herself well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then you have like Bella Thorne, who's like pissing off OnlyFans people, uh,
hmm
uh, and hanging out with like Tana Mogo. I think that's
hmm
Yeah.
her name.
Ariana Ariana Grande wasn't Disney, was she? Was she Disney?
She
She was
was
Nickel.
Nickelodeon.
She was Nickelodeon. I honestly, is there a whole lot of difference
Not
Probably not.
really. No.
in
Only
that
one has
in
done
that teen
Schneider.
space in that yeah.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Only one has done Schneider. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But
Uh,
yeah, I guess my second, right? We've all you guys have done two, right?
yeah, we've just done
Because
two.
okay, so yeah, my second sort of fan cast, a character that, again, much like Firebird. Uh, I'll make up for it. I promise. I know my third character like quite well, but my second character is someone that I don't know much except from I guess Spider-Man Unlimited, technically, which is funnily enough and like random like things that he's popped up in. But Machine Man,
Oh,
the
Oh,
Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby, yeah, he was in the 2001 Jack Kirby comic book. Because I think that's just a neat character to have, and we don't
yeah.
have Vision anymore, so like
well,
one Robot Man limit, but like I just like the character, like the design. Again, he was kind of in Spider-Man Unlimited, the cartoon series.
Hmm.
Um, but like I think if he's robot, I've also seen like just like little bits and pieces of him. But I think some of that would be great for that. Can play like a very like static sort of robot if that's what they wanted to do, or somebody who could play a bit more of like a more MCU character, I quip a bit. But I thought maybe Orlando Bloom could do that. Like if he, again, it really does depend on how they would play him. Because
Okay.
again,
Yeah.
he was in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies,
Yeah.
which I don't want to bring up every episode, but like, it seems that I do. But also like
Yeah.
Legolas from Lord of the Rings, like a very like he like very unearthly presence like in those movies, like a very like that grace that he has is like, listen, like you could do something like that for a
Oh yeah.
for a robot
Oh,
from space. I think that was
yeah.
sort of, yeah, so that was sort of my second character, Machine Man, Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, that actually sounds great. Yeah, you have that's you're 2 for 2 on Pirates casting.
Yeah.
So I just assumed that whatever we pick next week, Johnny Depp's going to be worked in
Yeah.
there somehow, uh, or Jeffrey Rush
Yeah. Okay,
will be
probably.
worked in there somehow. Uh, so like for my final character, I was having a little trouble with that one. So there's an actress that I've been trying to figure out a way to get into the MCU,
Hmm.
but I've never really been sure how to do it. But I feel like once Supergirl goes off the air, that
Mm,
this actress needs to not be forgotten,
right.
and that's Nicole Maines. I feel like Nicole Maines, like, she needs to be in the MCU doing something super heroic. And like I thought of like some of the female characters, and I didn't think any of the like nothing I ever thought about really fit her.
Hmm.
But then I thought about it and I was like, well, let's gender swap a character like they did Ghost for Ant-Man and the
Oh,
Wasp.
right.
So I'm going to cast Nicole Maines as Shroud and have him just be a mainstay member of the have her be a mainstay member of the West Coast Avengers. So if you're not familiar with Shroud, Shroud is the dude that could he didn't exactly have the same powers as Cloak, but they came from the
Right.
same place. They came from the Dark Force dimension, so he could summon like this blackness from the Dark Force dimension. It kind of looked like smoke, but
Hmm.
no light could penetrate it.
Hmm.
And he himself was blind. He
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
actually see, uh, but like he could sense anything within 100 foot radius
Hmm.
perfectly. So I was like, I would like to like kind of do what they did with Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp and give that make Shroud a female and
Hmm.
give it to Nicole Maines. Nicole Maines in Supergirl was the actress
Uh,
who played Dreamer.
yes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
yeah.
that. Like that's a
yeah, that's
good
cool.
pick.
So my Tigra, I um like when I was looking for actresses to play Tigra, I was thinking, okay, who is someone who can like pull off that like someone who can be simultaneously like very like um I'm trying to think of the right words. Sorry.
Mhm.
Alluring.
Yeah, like, kind of like simultaneously alluring but aggressive, but like not in like a um like hyper like assertive aggressiveness, more of a
Right.
like sudden like burst of aggression. And
Right.
I swear to God, this was not intentional, considering that Nathan Fillion's in this. But Felicia Day was the person I landed on.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
I was like, Felicia. Felicia Day is someone who I feel like really should be in the MCU. Like I think
Yeah.
she just
Oh,
kind of
she'd
makes sense.
kill it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, like
She would probably love to be in the MCU.
yeah, and I think like she would have a blast being Tigra. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
like just getting to be this badass Catwoman. Uh, I think yeah, she'd absolutely nail it.
Mhm.
It's like a lot of the time, like at least in the roles I've seen her in, like that aggressiveness only like it's very rarely like manifests. So
Right.
I think she'd appreciate a role where she gets to be a bit more experimental instead of just being more of a wallflower.
Yeah.
Right.
Which um but yeah. So Alicia Day would be my Tyra. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
it's a good cast there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um
and Neil Patrick Harris would be my Count Nefaria. Complete trilogy. Uh,
yeah. Yeah, I guess for my last character, it's someone that I've known about for quite a while. I don't know if it's from like an encyclopedia I read or something else cuz he hasn't actually been in much like non-comics things. Like it's
Mhm.
been basically like almost always that. But I think another good character to put into the MCU would be Darkhawk, like uh
Oh,
oh,
the
yeah.
character who basically like he like psychically has a link to like a suit of armor or a robot or whatever that
Yeah.
thing is that he can sort of control. And for reasons that I guess I'll get into when we sort of talk about the West Coast Avengers, at least what we envision more. I sort of wanted somebody who could play like because in the comics Darkhawk was like a teenager sort of he was a
Yeah.
teenager when he got the thing, but I sort of wanted to do so that we could retcon in that maybe he that happened during the snap, like he was a teenager during the snap, then the 5 years happened, so this is sort of like an older Darkhawk, not by much,
Oh,
like
okay.
he's just barely past that threshold where people respect him. Like um and I thought, okay, so somebody like, and again, I've done 2 for 2 twice now. Uh, this is get your bingo cards out. But I thought who could play somebody who is like like a mid 20s, late 20s. He basically was like a teenager before, but now he's matured out. I said Joe Keery, who is Steve from Stranger Things. So if you're paying
Oh,
attention,
oh,
yeah.
so
man, good
I think
choice.
yeah, Joe Keery for a Darkhawk is again specifically for one who was already like he was the teen, like so he's older, like he's not playing like the 17-year-old, he's playing like a mid 20s, maybe a bit
Yeah.
younger, like he's playing like a but Darkhawk does age in the comics, so he's playing like that era Darkhawk, and that's who I would sort of imagine would be on the team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Another Stranger Things actor. So
yeah,
Millie Bobby Brown next week.
yeah.
Um, no, that oh wow, yeah, Darkhawk would be a fun character to have on there. Has
Yeah.
he ever been a West Coast Avenger? Has he always
I
been
believe he
a
was.
new
I think a lot of the characters I chose were technically reserve members. Like
right?
they weren't, but
He
like
was a new warrior, right?
yes, I believe so. But yeah,
Okay, yeah.
like Darkhawk, I would. Yeah.
All right. So we've got our fan casting set. So now what so now we're going to establish like what kind of setting. I don't know if y'all thought the settings out.
I have mine. Like I have a rough idea of what I want this to look like. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had a rough one too. So like I was thinking I was thinking about like how the MCU has handled the Avengers, where they're not really an East Coast response team.
Yeah.
They're pretty much a global response team because they've been everywhere. Sokovia, wherever. What's his face? Baron, not Zemo, the other von Strucker, wherever he was.
This is
They
also
travel.
Sokovia, I
Yeah,
think.
was it Sokovia?
Yeah,
Really?
because
Okay,
the twins were Sokovian.
right.
Pretty sure they were. Yeah.
I just thought it was a different part of the
Oh,
world.
okay. Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, like so rather than have like the premise be um we're setting up this team on the West Coast to handle threats from the West Coast.
Hmm.
We're setting up this team to handle a different type of threat.
Right.
So, like, it would be like they wouldn't address problems that had already developed. They wouldn't respond to crises. They would respond to. They would try to prevent crises from happening before they do,
Oh.
which is what the premise was behind the team that temporarily replaced. I think it replaced both West Coast and East Coast Avengers, called ForceWorks.
Hmm.
And I would actually just call the movie, instead of using the West Coast thing in the title of the film,
Yeah.
I would call it Avengers ForceWorks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, and like I don't know if you guys like I didn't put too much thought into who a protagonist would be,
Hmm.
antagonist would be, but I was like when I was reading the miniseries and I saw Graviton returns, that's
Yeah.
what that I want to bring Graviton back somehow,
Yeah,
and it just
yeah.
yeah, and it just be
Adrian
that guy.
Pasdar.
Yeah, I just want it to be him
Yeah.
again. You can do a timeline thing, I don't
Yep.
care. I just want
Yeah.
him back, and I want him to take on, like, the Avengers.
Yeah.
I wanna
Yeah.
see because dude was hardcore.
Yeah.
He was definitely, an Avengers level threat, and I'd like to see him actually take
Yeah.
them on. Yeah. Okay, so
Hold on.
Dan.
Danny's typing in the
Oh,
podcast chat.
okay.
You see that? Um, should I wait for his message to send, or I guess I can go on my spiel because I assume he's
Speak.
predisposed somewhat.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess when Danny comes back, we can recap what ours are. But I mentioned this to Danny. But my idea for the West Coast Avengers, and this sort of explains my Dark Hawk. Is I want the West Coast Avengers. If you think about it, and the more that I think about it, I'm like, I probably could have put Rhodey on here. Like I could have, but like I decided not to. But I want the West Coast Avengers to, again, they are based out of San Francisco, sort of Ant-Man's home turf. I want the West Coast Avengers to be based out of the same building that the Young Avengers are going to be based out of. I want them to sort of be like, I don't want the Young Avengers to be based out of the East Coast. I want them to go like west, because we have
Uh-huh.
Like Scott's there. Like that's where Hope. That's where Cassie is.
Yeah.
She's from San Francisco. If we have Wanda, if Wanda is also out here with Scott, we would have Speed and Wiccan are there too. Like we would have like I would like the West Coast Avengers and the Young Avengers to
Oh,
operate out of the same facility. Um, and so then also I
right.
mentioned this to Danny in terms of in terms of side characters. In terms of side characters, you could, if Mockingbird is on this team, like imagine having Nick Blood come back as Lance Hunter, and he's just sort of there like chaperoning the Young Avengers for whatever reason. It's like
Yeah.
the West Coast Avengers are out. Like someone has to watch you guys, like government mandated. So I guess I'm here. Like Lance Hunter having to do that.
Yeah.
Um, like I imagine what it also would be is that like like Vision probably dead. Like let's be that's why he's not here with Wanda. Probably he's dead, or they're split up and he's on the East Coast or whatever. But I also
Right.
would kind of like, as much as I do like Scott and Hope, it's like maybe you could put Hope is like we need space, or just like I want to go do things on the East Coast, because I think like you said, the West Coast could definitely deal with something different. And I guess sort of
Mhm.
just spitballing here, maybe I would go and I would reinvent it. So even though you think the East Coast would be, I imagine the East Coast would be the bigger team as well, but the East Coast would still do that the MCU Avengers thing worldwide. But you would the West Coast, maybe they would do they would be like home ground, like this is just America. like they do things like
Yeah.
exclusively in
Yeah.
America. That's what I'd probably do for my West Coast, is like they are a much smaller team, limited. Um, so I would sort of say have them uh, have them do more like localized problems, but also again like they live, or at least they have the same facility as the Young Avengers. Because then again, you have Darkhawk on there, and Darkhawk is, he was a younger hero who sort of had to, who's growing up out of that, so you could have that interesting dynamic between him, and he's like, I remember what it was like to be a, you know, an underage,
Yeah.
superhero. So it's like he's somebody that they can look up to, or or like they can be inspired by. And like, also for some of those members, their parents are on the team, so they're like, like Kathy's like, yeah, my dad, and like Billy and Tommy are like, yeah, our mom is there. She's kind of fucking terrifying. like, like and like, I guess you could always say, I assume that they would merge the Champions and the Young Avengers, but you could always say, because like Riri would probably be on the Young Avengers, but I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say, Riri and Riri, America Chavez, and Kamala. They're on the East Coast. They're the they're the East Coast
Yeah.
team. Like the Young Avengers are over on the West Coast with their parents, which again would explain my exclusion of Rhodey, because maybe he'd have some sort of mentorship role to Riri, because like they're the Iron Man
That's
people.
funny. I completely forgot that when we initially were, I think, talking about doing this, that I was going to
Yeah.
have put America Chavez on the team, and
Uh
I completely forgot about her.
yeah.
Uh,
Like,
yeah.
because I did consider Hawkeye, like Clint on the team, but I want Clint to retire, but definitely like have Kate on the Young Avengers. Um, but yeah, like that's my pitch would basically be make the Avengers East Coast, based out of New York, in the, not Stark Tower, I guess. Maybe bring in the manor, bring in the Avengers manor slash mansion or whatever. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Like, but like have them based out of there, sort of do the global threats, the intergalactic threats. Have the West Coast Avengers based out of San Francisco. Hell, you could still have
Mhm.
like Hank and Janet there also as like mentors. Like they're not on the West
Yeah.
Coast Avengers. They're managing the facility. Like, imagine the dynamic between Michael Douglas, Hank, and like Nick Blood, Lance Hunter.
Yeah.
Like, he would not have any of it. He'd be like, "You're a tool," and like, like, "You're worthless. Why are you here?" Like, your girlfriend, wife is much. It's much more like,
He's just like spies. I
yeah,
freaking hate spies.
yeah. Like, I would like sort of that, like Hank,
Yeah.
Janet, Lance Hunter. They would sort of be
Especially,
like supplementary to
especially since he's apparently worked with Shield in the past, and
yeah,
they don't get along. It's very obviously he doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like
Uh,
I would like the West Coast, maybe, because like make the East Coast a bit more free of the government slash Shield. Like they are much more like an independent force than they are right now. But like the West Coast, definitely lean into it. Like, because like I said, sort of like have Mockingbird, like it's like the way you could frame it is that like Mockingbird is like there, and she's like, because like they're not, if this is a West Coast, if this is like a Shield run thing, they're not going to be like, yeah, the ex-con is leading the the threat, like Wanda Maximoff. She, like, we can't let her be in charge either. And like USA, I mentioned this could be like a probation for US agent after whatever
mhm.
happens in Falcon the Winter Soldier, provided he doesn't die or become like a really irredeemable villain. But like they're like, Mockingbird, like,
He becomes a
you
Nazi.
were, yeah, you were you were wanted or whatever. But like, yeah, so I say sort of like Mockingbird has been instated here, and like US agent is there on probation. She's watching, and so like this group's kind of forms naturally, like over just like, over the circumstances. Like that's sort of like what I would want the West Coast Avengers to be.
See, that reminds me. I was going to have like not explicitly saying that they were the West Coast Avengers, but implicitly implying
Yeah,
that they're the West Coast Avengers. So like they're like situated very like I was gonna have them like somewhere like L.A. and to be very
Yeah.
kind of obvious where they were based the whole time, based on
Yeah.
the type of grounds that their headquarters would be on, the type
Right.
of stuff that like Wonder Man, coming right out of Hollywood and whatnot.
Yeah.
All of that stuff, just being very LA centric, California centric, but like what they respond to is not like, oh, we respond to it because we're on the West Coast, but we're West Coast because that's where we are.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I didn't really have much of an idea of what would happen.
Hmm.
I knew who I wanted to be hanging around. I had similar ideas to you, Sirius, where it's like
Hmm.
Hank and Janet are there. I would also like I my memory of Ant-Man and the Wasp is very sketchy. But I believe Bill Foster survives the movie, right? Uh,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
yeah, so he'd definitely be around too.
Hmm.
Um, I'd want Clint around, still mentoring Kate. Um,
Right.
but like very much like I am basically done. I'm mostly here for you. I'll still talk to Brody. I'll
Yeah.
start every so often, but like that's about it. Uh,
Hmm.
um, um, I I knew I was gonna have Bobby hanging around as like a
Right.
kind of like a liaison type deal.
Hmm.
Like but like you mentioned Lance to me, and I was like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, Lance can be there too. Uh,
Yeah.
another character to throw into the pile, and yeah, like these guys would all hang around, all like helping out and stuff. I joked about it earlier, saying like Neil Patrick Harris would be Count Nefaria, but the more I think about it, the more I kind of like uh, Count Nefaria being
Yeah.
like a villain for this. But I'm another character I mentioned earlier, Grim Reaper would probably also be involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder Man's uh
Yeah.
makes sense. Um, I wish I had more to say, but I just don't. It's like
Hmm.
there's
That's pretty significant though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's more than what I said. So there's a pretty interesting fan theory that someone shared on the Watchtower Database Discord here recently.
Oh, have they?
Um, they shared it in video form,
Hmm.
but like I was looking at it and like it's not bad. It's not a terrible hypothesis. I probably wouldn't mind seeing it, but I don't know how likely it is.
Right.
But the hypothesis was, well, you know what? Um, let me share that hypothesis in our next segment because we're getting ready to do.
Yeah.
Assuming everyone here has said everything they wanted to say about our West Coast Avengers fan casting, this ties into our next segment on WandaVision.
Yeah.
WandaVision. We got something cooking.
All right. From here on out, WandaVision spoilers for WandaVision's episodes 1 through
Four.
wherever we're
Four?
at.
Yeah, I think
4.
we're four. Yeah.
Yeah, 4. We interrupt this program is the last one that came
Yes.
out as of this recording. So, what did you guys think?
I
I've
have been
been
loving this
loving.
show.
Yes,
Yeah.
the very parallel thought. It's been really
Yeah.
great, and
Yeah.
like the way that this one starts, like episode 4, like holy hell! It took
Mhm.
me a second to realize. I was like, because
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I was thinking like, what about Monica getting sent out of the TV world? Why is she fading back in? And then
Yeah,
I
that's
just like
exactly what
had
I
that
was
yeah,
thinking
moment,
I had a
too.
moment like that too. I was like,
like
wait, this is
right
a
before she
snap.
bursts out the door. I was like, oh wait, because like we've seen the snap before, like the not sorry the not the snap. We've seen the what do they have a word for, like, because they call it the blip, but what do they call it, like the unblippening? Probably
I
not.
don't.
But
Yeah, I don't know if they have a
I
word
don't think that they
for.
have a word for like the comeback. But like because
Yeah.
in Far From Home we saw them all back at once, like every single one of them phase back in. But that could just be
Yeah.
like a coincidence, an isolated incident. But seeing
Yeah.
them all, like, because in Infinity War they all don't fade at the same time. Like we see that especially in the
Right.
scene on Titan where they all like very conveniently fade out before they right before they all get to have their last words or whatever. But like just what a great way to start the episode, and also to show that 5 year time gap, which I really love, even if it was like
Yeah.
the tail end of that time gap, obviously. But like, yeah, just great way to start the episode.
Such a great visual to have, like,
Yeah,
everyone just kind of reassembling randomly in the
yeah,
hospital, and the hospital, end up becoming twice as crowded as it was before. Just like just the total confusion of everyone
yeah,
there.
yeah,
It's just it was so like I saw some reaction videos where people like still didn't get what was happening,
yeah.
even after, and I was just like, yeah, you see the people reassembling, and it's just like, yeah, it didn't quite put it together until, like I saw her. I think I figured it out when I saw her hands reassemble. I
Yeah.
think I'm pretty sure that's when I figured it out. If not, I at least got it when she walked out the door and that guy forms right in front of her.
Yeah.
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 I was just so
Yeah.
caught off guard. I was just like, God damn, what the is going on? Uh,
Yeah.
it took me a couple of moments to be like, oh, okay. This is all like snap related stuff, or the blip, or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like, I keep forgetting it's not called the snap in universe. Like, uh, I swear I'm not reading off the notes I made for the episode. It's just,
And just the idea that I forgot Monica's mom's name.
Maria.
Maria.
Maria, just the idea that Maria set up Sword is, I
Yeah.
Yeah.
think, pretty cool.
And makes sense because of she was a Captain Marvel, like she was a pilot, and then she's like, I'm
Mhm.
gonna make Sword, which, as we know in the MCU, I know we had discussions about it before that episode came out. I know, especially like Rock and I had like a back and forth, like in private, like what does this mean? Like we realized that the new acronym was revealed before even the show came out. But like
Yeah.
the fact that they were basically comic Sword until the blip, and like because that guy is like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
half of my astronauts went away, I couldn't really do anything,
Yeah.
so we had to like reformat ourselves. I thought that was so cool that like we at
Yeah.
least they've addressed that.
It's like, I
But
really appreciate that. Again, the blip has side effects. There are ripple effects of this massive event that will
yeah.
play out for like years and years to come in the MCU. Like,
Mhm.
almost every character's backstory that we get introduced to from now on is going to be in
Mhm.
some way impacted by it. Like,
Yeah.
I just find myself wondering, like, how is Shang-Chi impacted by this? How is She-Hulk impacted by this? How is Moon
Right.
Knight impacted by this?
Yeah.
That is amazing. I love it. I absolutely
Mhm.
adore it.
Yeah.
Wait to learn
And
more.
it's one of those things. It was one of those events where like it doesn't look like there was a single family who wasn't impacted by this.
Yeah.
Like everyone lost at least half or all, depending on how many family members you had, you lost half or all of your family.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
yeah. Like Hawkeye, he loses his whole family. Scott's daughter, like, even though she didn't actually lose her dad, she did.
Yeah. I mean,
Because of,
she basically
as
did. Like,
as a direct consequence of the events, she lost her dad for a good 5 years. So, um, yeah, it's like, I can we now finally stop saying that the MCU is afraid of taking chances?
I mean, like, I hope so. I hope that every single thing going forward references the snap. I really hope this is not an isolated incident, which I assume it's not going to be now. Like, I wasn't expecting to see repercussions of the snap in WandaVision, So I hope I'm proven wrong. But like I look like
Mm-hmm.
like before this, I did not. I honestly, I did not expect Shang-Chi to deal with it at all. I don't expect the Eternals to deal with it. I hope that I'm wrong. I really
Yeah.
do. But I legitimately, I'm just like, I want things to take place because, like, I mean, the big thing for me is the fact that Black Widow is set after Civil War. I would be much more interested in the Black Widow movie if they were like, yeah, it's set during the time skip when she's like the leader of the Avengers. But
Yeah.
like that's something that I don't think we'll get now. Like unless they make Black Widow 2, this is another prequel. She's dead, by the way. Like, but it's just like I would have like I get it's going to be a spy movie or whatever because of when it's set, but I would have much rather them because the snap is such an interesting time frame now. Like
But no, we
like
need to know what happened with her and Hawkeye in Budapest, guys. Oh
yeah,
wait,
Yeah.
I think that's what they said the movie was going to deal with at some point.
I think there's
I
going to be
know.
like flashbacks. Like
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
think
Yeah.
why? It was a one-off line. We don't need this answered.
We remembered Budapest very differently. Yeah, watch Budapest be more significant though than Nick Fury losing his eye.
I was gonna say that's another one. I was thinking about that today. Just last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. That was a close call, huh, Goosey? Huh? And then just scratched out. I still love that. I
I
know a lot of
love
people
it.
Yeah.
like it should have been
Yeah.
kept a mystery. I agree, but like I much rather this than it being
No, I'm
something
happy
really
with yeah, I'm
serious.
very happy with this cuz this is like everything this is everything that I kind of love about Nick Fury is he's just like he's going to use every little thing to his advantage and he's
Yeah,
like I heard that the scrolls tortured you by tearing your eye out. He's
and
like
he's like, "Yep,
that yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
that information is that's
it's
a need no
classified."
basis
Yeah,
classified. Yeah, it's perfect. It's quintessential Nick Fury to just
yeah.
to over exaggerate something to suit his ends.
Yeah, because
So
like
yeah,
like I've seen people say like in terms of like if you wanted that to be a serious one. I saw on Twitter today someone was like, if they wanted to do it seriously, they should have just waited for Wolverine. But I'm like, yeah, like if they wanted to do it seriously, like
That would be
yeah,
to me. That's lamer. Like, really? You
yeah,
want
for a
Wolverine to
serious
do it?
explanation though, like like if it's not like play like a joke, like if it's like if you want to do this, like it was a legitimate tragedy for him that someone betrayed him. Have it be like during something with him and Wolverine were doing something.
I mean,
But
I
like
guess,
again,
but like,
I like the MCU one. That's what I'm saying. But
yeah.
like I ultimately I would have wanted to be left a mystery. I like that idea more. But like I like I also like it was just a cat or a space
yes,
a florgan.
a flirkin,
Logan.
mother flirkin.
that was that was that's pretty
Yeah,
great. But yeah.
I've had a lot of discussions online about this, and just there's just like a lot of people just didn't like that moment. But
Hmm.
I feel like to me this is just like this is everything that Fury is.
Yeah.
This is this defines Fury in such a way that no other moment defines Fury because he's
Yeah.
like whatever he makes like he's the ultimate lemonade out of lemons guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to completely use everything to his advantage
Yep.
to build up his reputation, to achieve his ends, to achieve
Hmm.
what he feels like is for the greater good. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it was a cat scratching his eye out.
But yeah. Sure. Like I enjoyed seeing Darcy in this episode of WandaVision well enough. Like
I
it's
I
like
did too, actually.
Darcy.
I liked her. Her. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I like
she's
Darcy.
she's fun. Yeah.
I like Darcy, so I never. So I like the Flurkin and I like Darcy.
Yeah.
So
I
you can
I
do.
I like seeing more of Jimmy Woo.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
think he's a pretty good like character in the MCU.
I was
and
But
his
caught off
clothes.
guard by how much I liked him because I completely forgot about him being an Ant-Man and the Wasp. Wasp?
Right,
mhm.
Wasp? Wasp. Uh,
Wask. Yes, Ant-Man and the Wask.
But
uh,
yeah, like just like
Great film.
I also loved seeing the fact that like to them watching the TV shows like they don't see what we do. Like they didn't see the
Hmm.
like in the first episode when or is it the second episode, is it? But like where Vision is like, Wanda, what's happened, like and like
Yeah,
she undoes him doing that. Like we
yeah.
just see the skip, we don't see him asking that and her redoing it. We don't see a lot of
Right.
those times when we don't see her when she flips out at is it Dottie, right? We see the skip, and then suddenly her hand is hurt, like
Yeah.
from Jimmy and Darcy's perspective. I like seeing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
adds a
Um,
creepy element to it. It's neat.
I also liked seeing what happened to Monica, like when they sort of go like when the
Ooh,
aspect ratio changes again, and you see Wanda, and she's like,
Yeah.
"You are you. I don't know who you are. I
This
don't
the
want you
God.
aspect
here."
ratio stretches,
Yeah,
and the little bars that are across the
yeah,
screen that you don't notice before, they
yeah,
slowly fade away,
yeah,
and it becomes full HD.
yeah. She does like the
Yeah.
dual hand. She just fucking blows her through the house, through the hedge, out of the thing, and then she just like
Absolutely
heals
fucking
it back before
brutal.
the Vision can see. I love that we got to see that, and we got to see like
And we see Wanda's real life powers and not the way her powers work in the context of this sitcom that she's in. We actually saw for the first time Scarlet Witch's powers, which
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
it's
uh-oh,
less
something's
Zatanna and more
yeah.
Scarlet
yeah,
Witch, and that's neat.
yeah,
I I
yeah.
I guess like because like a lot like I really did enjoy all the stuff, all the world building about Sword, but I am
Mhm.
curious like going forward like what this show is going to look like. Like it like I know some people are like, oh, this is perfect. Like this is and like I really enjoy it, but also I would kind of love if next episode they just don't address it. Like we just go straight back into the sitcom for one. Like episode 5 is just like it's the
Yeah.
80s,
I
and
mean,
they
that's what I'm thinking
yeah,
is
like
they're
Yeah,
gonna
because
do. Yeah.
I think they could also like flit back and forth between, but ideally, I just want them to go back to like to do another 3, like
Yeah.
just Wanda in the sitcom. We don't see like Jimmy and whatever, and then we get like because then that would leave us with like what 1 or 2 like left to wrap everything up. But like
Yeah.
I just want us to go back to the sitcom. I don't want to think about like the outside world. We've seen this. That's enough. Go back to like because I've loved seeing
Well,
these
that
sitcom
episode
episodes.
was called "We Interrupt This
Yeah.
Program,"
yeah.
So
kind of
hopefully
giving
it's just
the
like
yeah.
back to your regular scheduled program. I hope that's what the next
Yeah.
episode is called. Like I hope it's like
Yes.
and
Yeah.
we'll return after these messages kind of thing. Like
I
okay,
feel
we're
like it's a
back.
strong possibility.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I suspect, like I said, they are going to go like half and half now. Like we'll see the sitcom episodes, then we'll see the sword characters reacting to them. But I want them to go straight back into it. Wanda and Vision are doing wacky hijinks with their new babies, and like something's wrong. Like because like yeah,
So my suspicion is that what we'll see will be more like what we saw with the beekeeper and
yeah,
with Geraldine, is
yep,
that we're going to see the outside world trying to
yeah.
interact with Wanda's world a bit more, but
That'd be a
we
yeah.
won't know exactly what Sword is trying to do.
You know, that'd be a
Yeah.
Um,
great background gag. Like if we
yeah,
just see like they're teaching the kids to like ride a bike or whatever, and you just see like a sword agent in the back trying to like it's like but like he can't get through. I think that
yeah,
would be funny as shit. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, "Come on, Billy, you can do it. You can do it." And you just see like there are fucking sword agents with guns, and then Wanda like just forces them
well,
out.
and like there's still stuff that's been happening internally
Yeah.
in Wanda's world that haven't been addressed yet, and there's still stuff to unfold there, like with Agnes
Yep.
and
Definitely.
their neighbor, with him cutting through the stone wall,
Right.
with
Herb.
them
Yeah.
kind of seemingly having some awareness of what they are.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that just seems like with even with Dottie, there's something going on with Dottie because
Mhm.
Dottie's just like,
Oh,
I don't believe
absolutely.
you. Like she seems to have like genuine hatred, kind of like she was expressing genuine hatred
Yeah. I wonder if
for Wanda.
she's the I guess another follow-up question is like who do we think the person who was in witness protection is? Because I know a lot of people think Agnes, but it could very well just as easily be Dottie. And like the reason
Yeah,
Dottie hates Wanda is because Dottie was like she lost family or whatever from the Civil War attack that Wanda caused. Like that could be why Dottie hates her, right? Like in Civil War when like
yeah.
Wanda blows those people up, like Dottie could be like, "Damn, you killed my husband" or whatever. Like,
My
but
husband was Crossbones.
yeah. But I think definitely we'll see. I don't think the person in witness protection is going to be Agnes. I think it's going to be somebody else. Like most likely Dottie, honestly.
People,
Yeah, because Wu knows who's in Witness,
Yeah,
who he's looking for,
yeah, and like
and
he doesn't.
Agnes's hasn't been identified yet.
Yeah, so
She was the only one who didn't have a driver's license, didn't have a
yep.
name. So like I don't know if she's going to end up being Agatha Harkness.
Mhm.
I feel like that's the obvious choice, but
Yeah,
maybe
that might be
so.
occurring.
she's actually been playing a female version of Nightmare or Mephisto this
Oh
entire
yeah,
time.
yeah, maybe so.
I can't wait to clip that when it turns out I'm absolutely right. Like just by accident.
Okay,
So I was checking something here, but it looks like double checking, but I'm pretty sure the witness was a man,
Okay.
the missing witness.
yeah,
So there's
Right.
that.
it's Ralph. It's fucking Ralph.
Who's Ralph?
Agnes's husband.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, maybe. Damn, yeah,
it's
that could be it.
right. Clip my comment. Boom. I get the win.
Clip it. Clip, just clip all of these predictions we're making and release them anyways.
Yeah.
Like, because like
Ralph is Mephisto and the witness protection guy at the same
Mephisto
time.
was in witness protection.
Yes.
But because like I can predict things, but like also like I know we sort of talked about it very briefly in the Discord. I did like not we, but like I talked with Memer Spider about it. But there was a incredibly significant leak from I believe episode 6. I think Kevin Feige has killed somebody over it. But like I don't want to talk about that on the podcast. I don't want to mention it to either of you just because of like I don't think either. I know Danny kind of knows, but you don't realize what it really is. It's
Yeah, I know.
like I cannot believe like something like this has leaked, but like so like
I
I
saw
have,
you and Memer Spider discussing it in
yep,
spoiler text, but I didn't actually click on the
yeah,
spoiler
okay,
text when I saw
you do
oh,
not
yeah,
want to,
Yeah,
when I saw you say this is huge, this is big, I was like,
yeah, like
okay, well, I guess I'll
even yeah,
wait.
because again,
maybe.
Danny kind of know, but even then, you don't like it's fucking ridiculous that this has leaked. Like,
Yeah,
and I don't know what it means. Like, and I haven't been basing my predictions around that. Like I haven't been
Okay.
but like I've been avoiding certain things just because I'm just like I think that's what this means. But like yeah, like there it's just like sort of like a warning, I guess. Like there are like big WandaVision spoilers. Not even for next episode. I'm fairly certain they were for 6, which will be
Oh, I just
next
thought of
week's.
something.
Mm.
What's that?
I wonder if, like, you know, Wanda and Pietro's mother will ever, like, show up in this show.
Oh,
Cause,
yeah, that's a good one.
like, obviously, like, Magneto is a lot, and
Yeah,
it would be very unceremonious to just have him, like, show up
yeah,
at, like, some random point in this show. But, like, his mother, like, in the comics, like, she was, like, just, like, a flashback character who ended up drowning in a lake, I think.
yeah. I've seen the suggestion that maybe like her mother and father, or who she thinks her father is, are the presenters for the ads, like the people who
Oh,
are
that's
there.
interesting.
Yeah, I heard that
Um,
too.
I
Uh,
also
I was gonna say,
Magneto
like,
was
Mr.
trending on Twitter today because
Wait,
Elizabeth Olsen said there is a Luke Skywalker level cameo apparently in WandaVision. So people were like, it's not gonna be Fassbender. Like it's not gonna be like they're not gonna have Wanda's
no.
father show up played by somebody like 5 years older than her. Unless it's like a some fucked like TV shit. It's gonna be
Or
McKellen if it's Magneto or someone
young.
else, but like
so
likely
wait,
McKellen. Yeah.
What's her younger father?
Yeah.
wait, hold up. So a
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker level cameo. So that's
Yeah.
like star of the MCU level. It
Yeah,
makes me wonder.
Like Tony?
Like the one I'd think of is like maybe like I don't know, Steve. Like Steve shows up in like old man prosthetics, for like a
Oh, maybe.
cameo. But like,
I would actually say Tony because Tony actually has, I mean, like the biggest connection
Yeah.
to Wanda
Kind of killed her
and
parents.
Pietro. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think the obvious one. Oh, I need to bring this up here
Wait, no,
because I have. Yes.
the obvious one, Thanos. Thanos manifests in like some sort of like nightmare sequence.
Oh shit! Of course, yeah, yeah. Maybe Thanos, but I need to bring this one up here. This one, I think, I don't know if this is the cameo Elizabeth Olsen would have been referring to, but I think this one is absolutely going to be there. Doctor Strange, like,
Oh,
like I would be more surprised if he's not in this at the end by the end. But I had to say this because I have to bring this up. I have a friend who is very big into Spider-Man. Um, he, I haven't told him about this podcast, but I need to shit talk him for a second. Like, he is convinced, absolutely convinced that like Doctor Strange is going to show up with Spider-Man and they're going to defeat Wanda at the end of it. And I'm like, you are delusional.
what
like,
the
like,
fuck?
like, there is no way. Like, I agree with him on Doctor Strange wholeheartedly, just because of the like, and like, if they're going to reference Spider-Man, it's going to be in vague terms to the fact that like, if you didn't know about Spider-Man 3, you would suspect it's just like some Doctor Strange 2 thing. But like, there is no fucking way I am willing to bet like money on it that Tom Holland or Tom Holland's stunt double with ADR is going to show up. Like, sorry, I just had to bring it up that my friend believes this. He's like, he is fully convinced. Like, he's gonna swing in and he's like, they're gonna
Pretty sure I
combine
know who
the
that
themes.
is.
No,
Yeah.
it's not someone from the server. It's someone from
Oh, okay.
Oh, you
outside.
thought he was talking about Maggie,
Oh,
didn't you?
No,
yeah.
no. I'm talking about like another Discord
Oh, okay.
person I know,
Yeah.
but he is he is fucking insane. Like, no, Spider-Man is not going to save the day in
Oh.
WandaVision.
This
You
is
are
not that kind of
fucking
show, my guy.
delusional.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be resolved. It's going to come down to Wanda
Yeah.
and I'm sure Vision will tie into it a lot, but I imagine it's going to come down to Wanda and
Yeah.
Monica resolving
Yeah.
this
Like,
somehow
Wanda
together,
herself.
either in a fight
Yeah.
or in some sort of negotiation. But just
Yeah.
I feel like those feel like they're the two,
Yep.
like the protagonist and the antagonist. Vision very much feels like he's kind of there
I
to drive Wanda's story.
Yeah.
So I was gonna suggest that like it was going to end with like Wanda like kind of fully losing it and Vision being the one to like calm her down and bring her
Mhm.
back down to normalcy and like encourage her to seek some actual goddamn help. And the
Yeah.
help she thinks of is Doctor Strange. I think that would be
Yeah.
like a neat way to tie things in without having Wanda become the villain for Doctor Strange 2, which I really don't. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but I'm hoping that's not what they go for.
Mhm.
Well, so something else that um which I haven't heard a lot of people talking about comes from the early trailers for WandaVision. One
Right.
of the things that I haven't seen represented on the show yet, which I don't know if it was just like a flourish for the trailer,
Mhm.
but we saw the Mind Stone reconstruct
Yeah.
in the early trailers, and I'm very curious to to know to what degree the Mind Stone plays a part in the story beyond being, the thing that brought Vision to life, the thing that was ripped from him that killed him, the thing that gave Wanda and Pietro their unlocked or gave them their powers.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like they must have shown that because there's some significance to it
Yeah.
beyond that. I feel like so.
Definitely.
I'm wondering if and like I'm trying to piece together all these other little threads, like the fact that Wanda is apparently tapped into the cosmic background radiation, which is it's the radiation that was generated from the birth of the universe.
Yeah.
Like she's tapped into some hardcore,
Yeah.
powerful stuff there.
Yeah.
Which presumably is what they're basically the MCU's substitute for chaos magic.
Mhm.
I'm
Possibly.
thinking. And just Wanda is able to tap into that somehow. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, so we've got the Mind Stone, we've got cosmic background radiation, we've got um the Mind Stone reconstructing itself in the trailers. We've got a very clear indication that this Vision is not alive like he was, like it's
I
not the
was
mind,
I
it's not
was
the
about
Mind
to
Stone.
I forgot to bring it
Yeah.
up. That was fucking I s- in the
Hmm.
I noticed it in the background when he did that, but then like
Yeah.
they zoomed in on it and I was like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Like
Fucking
I didn't notice it
horrifying.
until I rewatched it, and I was like, "Oh, he had the hole in his head even before they zoomed
yeah,
in."
before they like you see Wanda
Yeah.
sitting down on the couch and and I'm like, oh, he's
Yeah.
desaturated, and then they zoomed in and I was like,
Yeah.
sake.
Yeah, the
It's
because the real world
horrifying.
had seeped in,
Yeah.
so she had to concentrate to bring it back to where it was, and I was just like,
Oh
"Oh
man,
crap!"
My
that was
boy Vision's a
sick.
corpse. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
all of the dead Avengers have been manifesting as corpse in these
yeah.
fucking MCU products. Like goddamn.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like other predictions I can that we can make that we can laugh at later, which I know you want to do, Mark. I know like you brought up that that's part of the fun of it.
yes,
I think the '80s episode. I think it is going to deal with like going to be like wacky like Full House hijinks. I
absolutely,
will not
yeah,
elaborate further.
yeah.
But like I've mentioned Full House before, as something that I think they might tap into for certain characters.
That was the
Uh,
exact vibe I got when I was looking at the some of the preview images.
mhm.
Is I got a very Full House and maybe even a little Family Matters, not Family
Yeah.
Matters, the other one, Growing Pains.
Mhm.
Just yeah, I think it's going to be a lot like that
Because
too.
this is the next one is the '80s one. I
Yeah.
think I yeah, which is 5. So 6 is the fault. So in the '90s they do. See, I think this one is going to be this '80s. I think they'll probably be toddlers, Billy and Tommy. I reckon.
Mm,
Like they'll be
possibly, yeah.
walking, talking. They'll be like little like there'll probably be like a joke where we see Vision because I think there was a setup in 3, right, where like he was like doing a diaper. Like we'll probably see
Yes.
him. Like there'll probably
Oh,
be some
God.
maybe a joke with Tommy. Tommy is Speed, right? Probably. I think. Yeah, like 80s episode this week. They're gonna tap into some Full House vibes. I am going to say maybe we're going to see another wacky neighbor. Um, just like either maybe we will see Agnes's husband this episode. That's
I'm
my
thinking maybe the beekeeper will be converted into a member of the thing.
oh yeah,
Like
good one. Because we
if
didn't see him
they,
leave, did we?
yeah.
Yeah, we
Shit.
don't know what happened to him yet.
Like
Um,
I remember when I was watching the episode, like my head meant like after he got thing, uh,
Mhm.
it was like they showed like her making dinner or something, and I was like, oh god, is he in the food?
I,
oh
I
no.
I want I want that beekeeper. I want him, like I said, I want him to be the one. I want Wanda and Vision to be teaching the kids how to use tricycles or whatever, and he's just in the background trying to like he's trying to like put like fucking butterfly net on her, but she just keeps like pushing. I want him to be like a background, like something that like the characters don't acknowledge, but we do. I want him to be like doing something like that, some wacky hijinks.
Let's get some crackpot theories out there, like utterly insane shit that will never happen, but we'll put out there.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
and Doctor
Spider Man.
Strange will
Spider Man
save
saves
the
the day.
day.
I already gave my friends. I don't think you can
Yeah.
top that. Like unless like you go like incredibly absurd. Like that is the most one. Like that is the one that somebody would have. Like
Thing.
everything else is just like that's
Oh,
force
Trust.
like made up.
I
Here's
said that I was going to share that fan theory
Oh
that I
yeah,
saw on
shit.
video the other
oh
Yeah,
day and
yeah.
almost forgot.
What's that?
So the theory that I saw, I believe the name of the channel is the name of the user that shared it on the WDB Discord. I think it's
Oh,
Super
was it
Slim
in?
Team
Wasn't
7.
Shameless Plug? Was that it?
Yeah, it was shared in
yeah.
Shameless Plug. The idea that they had was um in the comics, uh uh Vision is based on the is not based on Jarvis. He's based on Wonder Man.
Yes.
He's got he's in like an emulation of Wonder Man's mind,
Yeah.
and so like what they were thinking was, since in the MCU, Vision is an emulation of is actually the Jarvis AI. The
Yeah.
Jarvis AI is actually an emulation of the original Jarvis. who was
The
Stark's
butler.
the Stark's
Yes.
driver. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were thinking that maybe Wanda tried to bring Jarvis's soul back, or what
Mm,
counts as his soul,
right.
what basically is the essence of his soul. But instead, she ends up bringing back the original Jarvis.
Oh.
Ooh,
And in this case, much like in the comic, so in the comic, the Grim Reaper is actually Wonder Man. Is it Wonder Man's brother?
Yes.
yeah.
I believe. So the Grim Reaper finds Vision to be an abomination because of the the connection to his brother, like a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah.
So and that's why he has this hatred for Vision. So Super Swim Team's theory was that um, this revived Jarvis becomes the Grim Reaper,
Oh, okay.
and that's
Oh,
why he has
Yeah,
and that's why he has this hatred
because
for Vision.
I like that because if I remember, even the actor who played Vision, I think he's played like serial killers and shit
Yes.
outside of Agent Carter. So
Oh
like
yeah.
he could sell being a villain. That's a good one. I like
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
don't
I
know
thought
like the
that was.
likelihood of it, but that's a really great
I
one
don't think it's
actually.
That's what I said.
likely at
I said
all.
it's
I like
not necessarily likely, but it's well thought out.
Yeah, like
it's
that's a
I think of it. I think it's like writer quality. A writer quality fan theory. Like, yeah, this is a
yeah.
good idea that I would actually do in a
God
story.
damn. Yeah, I like
You know?
that one.
Yeah.
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 Um,
So.
so, time for the opposite of rice equality. Uh, theory idea I came up with while you guys were talking before. Uh,
Those are
so,
the best kind.
Wanda has powers that's like cosmic radiation. Who gets their powers from radiation? The Hulk.
Oh.
The Hulk gets their powers from Wanda.
I
Let's
thought you were gonna say the
go.
Fantastic Four.
Oh,
Like
Fantastic Four too. Yeah,
oh
all of them.
wait, what was I gonna say? I just remembered that fucking stupid theory that I had because you were talking about. Oh, I I want I want this to have. This is the one that a lot of people have joked about, but I want Wanda to just say no, comma, more mutants. Like, like she doesn't say no more mutants. She says
No,
no. I want
more
more. I
mutants.
want that to be the end of the show.
It's just the
That'd be
Adam Driver
funny as
meme.
That would be the single greatest thing to have ever
yeah.
happened in MCU. That
Like
would be like that would be like that would be like the Flerken and Nick Fury's eye
yeah.
times 1,000
Oh, it's so good. I
in
love it.
greatness and fan division. Is if
Like,
she said no more mutants.
So many people who take this shit too seriously would hate it, and I love it.
Yeah,
like,
this would be like
it would just be sick.
this
Like
would
we're
be like
close.
this is what I've been waiting for all my life. This is the moment. I've dreamed of a moment like this. I couldn't even dream of a moment like this.
I need it to be like
Need it.
Yes.
canon.
I
I
am
want it.
manifesting this moment.
Yes.
But yeah,
Uh,
no more mutants is what is like is my like this is not going to happen, but I want it to. Like
This is your best fan theory since Injustice Flashpoint.
Injustice Flashpoint, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna double check to see who else is supposed to be in this that we haven't seen yet. Because I know there's like one cast member I saw who hadn't, whose a character had been unconfirmed the last time I checked Wikipedia.
Oh, we haven't seen Pietro yet.
Yeah. But like just like again, I just want it to be like I want to see Elizabeth Olsen. She's doing that exact like they zoom in on her mouth like that. She says
Yeah.
no more mutants. Like
Ultron's supposed to be in this.
is he supposed to be, or is that like a rumor kind of deal?
I mean, that's what I mean by supposed to be
Oh,
is
okay, yeah.
as he's allegedly in this. Like the cast listing that I see has him as has James Spader
Mm-hmm.
and the Pietro actor.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only character who has been cast but not confirmed for any role that I'm seeing is Isaiah Knott. I don't know if that name rings a bell to any of you, because it doesn't for me. Oh, for what it's worth, the Marvel Cinematic Universe fandom says he's playing Boy Next Door, which to me suggests maybe in a future episode when the boys have aged up a bit, he could be like Billy or Tommy's crush.
Okay, yeah. They're gonna say
Which,
like Hulkling, or which I guess still could work, but
I mean, maybe. Uh,
And Evan Peters hasn't appeared in WandaVision either, has he?
yeah, I don't think he's been reported by like major trades. I know that was something from
He was supposedly in leaked video clips.
But yeah, like that was yeah, yeah, like
Okay.
we'll yeah, because like I still remember when they announced WandaVision. Remember that, and they were like, Darcy's in this, Jimmy Woo is in this.
Yeah.
Like what the like, what is this shit?
Yeah.
But
So far,
yeah.
the only thing I've been correct on is those were Darcy's hands in that episode. But,
Yeah.
I'm good. So apparently, I'm good at identifying hands. That's a talent of sorts. Yeah, but beyond that, pretty much this whole series is just like I got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I have
yeah.
no
Yeah.
idea where we're going from here.
Again, like my
So,
next
how much
episode,
have you
Full
studied Cat
House.
Dennings' hands?
I just have a memory for hands. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
It was fairly obvious with her in the trailer, and I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like a young woman's hands.
Yeah.
Not a puppet master like everyone was assuming that it
Yeah.
was going to be. I was like, she's just holding a remote control. Come on now.
Yeah. Jeez.
This isn't Click.
Yeah. Probably segment ending soon, I imagine, right? Like it's been
Yeah. You
but
want to
like
wrap it? Yeah.
last theory, Mojo. Mojo.
Mojo.
It's fucking Mojo.
Mojo!
Jojo. Both are possible. You heard it here, folks. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Mojo, and who did we say?
No
Hulk,
more.
the
Yeah,
Incredible Hulk.
Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk.
She-Hulk
All
as well.
will all come to stop Wanda in the
And
final episode.
and then she says before she's defeated, before she
dies,
she says no more mutants. She passed away. That's clip it when we're completely right. I cannot wait for that to make the rounds.
I'm just imagining it now. Like, she fucking dies. A portal opens up out of her body, and fucking Wolverine jumps out and fucking guts someone.
No, he has to like. It has to be like Old Man Logan. He like bursts out of her back. He's like,
Oh, fuck me. Jesus.
just the idea that Wanda dies and the Fox characters just walk out of her body.
Hundreds of mutants walk out of a portal in her body. Yeah.
No, you don't understand. It goes quiet for a few moments, but then you see like a rising sandstorm. Dust manifests out from her body in a massive like sand tornado.
No, all the same portals from Endgame open up
Just
in different parts of the world and the universe, and just like Storm
red.
Storm walks out of the one from Wakanda for some reason.
Yeah.
Like the one opens in Canada and just Alpha Flight comes out with Wolverine.
Yeah.
One opens like in space and the Starjammers come through for no apparent reason.
The entire CR Empire.
The entire CR Empire. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing. It's Endgame Part 2.
But they have to be the red Scarlet Witch magic instead of like the sling rings.
Ursa Major comes out in Russia. Just a giant bear drops Moscow.
Giant bear and Omega Red come running out of.
Oh hell yeah!
Magneto comes out of like a, I don't know, like a German portal with a bridge.
I was gonna say, don't say Auschwitz, please.
Just yeah, you. I may or may not have almost said something to that effect,
Yeah, like,
but thought better. Yeah,
oh my god, that'd be fucking horrible.
comes out on barbed wire. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna follow that through. Already bad things are happening.
We've
Iceman
already
comes out
seen
of the
Magneto in
closet.
Auschwitz in the movies.
Iceman
Apocalypse did
comes out of
that.
a closet.
Oh Jesus!
Iceman and North Star come out of just doors,
I can
like Monsters Inc. doors.
I can hear Rock having a seizure.
Yeah.
He's broken out into a cold sweat in New York and he doesn't know why. My gay retcon sense is tingling.
And on to questions from our, I said readers last time. So questions from our readers. Wizard Magazine number 200. We have a question from Memer Spider. Actually, two questions from Memer Spider. His first is, what are your guys' thoughts on the Flash film so far and what we've heard, and how do you feel about Keaton/Affleck Bats coming back?
Right.
So we've talked about this in VC a few times.
Yeah.
Like, I just want a psychic monkey, man. I want him to fight the psychic monkey. But, you know, considering that this is what we're getting, it's like, yeah, sure. Let's have this crazy, weird, ultra fan servicey Flashpoint movie. Why not?
Yeah. Like, it seemed like this Flash movie for like the longest time, for what, like, at least feels like it's been like since what the Justice League movie came out, maybe even before then, that the Flash movie was gonna, like, at least to some extent reset the universe. So I've had several years to like be like, this is what it's gonna be. It's not like it was a sudden development that like this is probably gonna reboot shit or like be multiverse spanning. So I'm like, it's interesting. It's really interesting to me that they got Affleck back. Like, that's more surprising to me than Keaton, I'll be completely honest. The fact that Ben Affleck is going to be Batman again, like, besides,
So he's
like,
definitely coming back.
yeah, he's been like, he was cast like I think right around Fandom last summer. Like,
Oh, okay.
might have been like the week before. They were like, yeah, guess what? Affleck's back. It's like, what is he? Like,
Everything
really...
about the casting for anything DCEU is completely muddled for
yeah,
me. Like,
it's
I'm like,
scuffed.
it's just like it's always so like what's happening with Spider-Man Homecoming 3
Yeah.
is literally just all of the DCEU.
Yeah.
It's just like we're bringing everybody back in every film. It's all on the table. So like I'm not anywhere near excited for your first Flash movie shouldn't be Flashpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I believe
Yeah.
I'm on record other places with this, but just like I've always said, the DCEU does everything too fast, too quickly. Well, I guess those are both the same words, but yeah,
Right.
yeah. Everything is just like they base everything on like responses to what either they're responding to what's the most popular thing at the time, or they're just trying to base things on a popular concept, and it's just like you did build actually you need to world build first, and they didn't. So we're here, and just yeah, the only thing that's really got like some significant world building is Wonder Woman, and maybe Man of Steel a smidge, but nothing else has really gotten a chance to like grow organically. They
Right.
just kind of jumped into giant crossovers as soon as they could,
Mm-hmm.
and so it didn't. So like it wasn't as exciting as it could have been, and I'm just very apathetic to the idea of Flashpoint this soon, because what are you flashpointing? Like, there's no, like, the whole gimmick behind Flashpoint is, oh, here's the universe,
Mhm.
but in a way you've never seen it before. We're changing everything. Like,
But
what universe are we Oh, look,
okay.
Batman kills people now.
Hear me
You,
out here. So we changed the universe, right? Comedy Flashpoint. This is how we fix it. You're saying if Flashpoint is meant to be a subversion, if we listen to Bob, our king, Comedy Flashpoint would do that. Like
freaking movie Bob.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is playing like the Batman that Dan wants in a movie, like Thomas Wayne Batman, but he's fucking like Adam West. Like, this is how we fix it. Comedy
Oh.
Flashpoint.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
It's based. The more you think about it, it's based as shit.
God damn it.
But really excited to answer, I guess, to Weaver Spider said, again, really excited for Affleck to come back. I'm not gonna even try to pretend that. Excited for Keaton. I want to know what their suits are gonna look like.
I'm not excited for Keaton, but I am looking forward to seeing Affleck again.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Keaton's will. I don't know what they're gonna do. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Keaton
Because again, like, they can do the fucking, like, literally, this was Bob's pitch. Like, Michael Keaton, he said Batman Beyond era Bruce Wayne is like mentoring the Flash. Like, this could be comedy Flashpoint.
So Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck showing up, it's like, okay, that's cool, I guess. Again, I just want
yeah, I get Affleck. That makes sense, but I don't get Michael Keaton.
I think both. Like, I get both. Like, we're at like.
Oh crap! Is he playing Batman's dad?
Oh.
Thomas Wayne, Michael.
Is he playing Thomas Wayne?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, like, we've seen concept art, and like, he's just wearing, like, it's the Batman '89 suit and the Flash. So,
Yeah,
like,
but he's Thomas Wayne.
Maybe we'll see.
Oh
I honestly think they get Jeffrey Dean Morgan back. Like, they wouldn't cast.
Okay,
such a
they should
character.
get Jeffrey Dean Morgan back, but will they? That's
because
the thing.
I don't think they'd have Michael Keaton play like a gun-toting Batman. Like, I don't think so.
I love how much despair you're in over this, Mark.
No, because I know these people. It's just like, it's just I've been hurt by them before. So yeah, I mean that's I bet you anything he's playing Thomas Wayne, and he's not going to carry guns. It's just 89 Batman for some reason.
We'll see.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, for one time I was excited for this Flash film was when Grant Morrison was supposed to be attached to it as like a writer, because it's like, y'all know I love Grant Morrison. I think that they are a brilliant writer.
Oh yeah, me too. I've always been a huge fan. That JLA run they did was fantastic.
Yeah.
They also did Grant Morrison. Did they do one of the Arkham? Is it one of those
Arkham
books
Mysterious
like?
and Serious?
Yes, yeah, they would have done that, which I really love.
Yeah, I mean that's like my JLA, my comic book JLA is Grant Morrison's run on that. That's my template for the JLA when I think of them, even more than, like, say, the DCAU JLA. Like I feel like the run that they did personified everything that makes the JLA work in a dynamic that's different from the, like, say, the Avengers.
Yeah. Like, obviously Grant's very, like, it's someone that people seem to either, like, love or hate. Like, they are, like, it's one of those things where it's like either they're very creative, very like high concept, uh, like work will either appeal to you in like some sort of like either like in some sort of like artsy way, or it's just like,
Mhm.
oh, this is very like fun, high concept superhero stuff that's also very silly a lot of the time, but is like very much
Yeah.
aware of it and is also having fun with it. Um,
Yeah.
or you're just like, no, this, I don't like all of this. This is too much. Just
Mm.
bring it back down to more like simple stuff. Which the way I phrase that sounds a bit dismissive of that opinion, but like, guess it's like it's fine if like grand stuff doesn't appeal to you, but like, God, they're great.
It's yeah, it just feels like so much fun. So like, yeah, if they had been the writer attached to the film, if they're not still, are they?
As far
No.
as I'm aware, they're not.
Okay,
Because I believe that
yeah.
was the thing before they brought in the Machetes, who did it, who are
Ah,
good directors from the It
yeah,
movies. So
yeah.
again,
Those are
I'm looking forward to the Flash movie. Like
yeah. I'll watch. I
I've
mean,
had too many
obviously, I'm
years
gonna
to
watch
deal with
it.
it. I find I'm just like I've
Yeah,
gotten over it by this point.
yeah.
To be honest,
I never thought there would come a day where I was like ambivalent to a superhero film.
But yeah,
I never saw that happening.
yeah,
But like, yeah, it's definitely gonna be hope.
yeah,
And I hope to just give him like a better costume this time. Like, I
yeah,
get it, I get it. His costume is homemade. It's not.
yeah,
It's something that just a kid in his it's not his basement, but it's like his storeroom or whatever,
yeah.
his lair that he set up in a warehouse somewhere. He needs, that's what he had access to, but now give him like a proper costume,
I think
please.
based on the fandom concept art they are like it's a much sleeker thing from memory. Like it's
Yeah,
not doesn't have like the black. But yeah, great
or
question.
the stitches. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on to the second question that Member
Yes.
Spider had. If you were a Jedi, what kind of hilt would you have? I.e.,
Mm.
single bladed, double bladed crossguard, and what color would it rock? Red, blue, green, etc.
oh, this is easy for me. I want a
Uh,
purple double-bladed one. Give me that shit. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Like,
Mark, do you have an opinion as Star Wars?
so so like I like the look of the double bladed lightsaber, but I know that it's a bit harder to wield, and kind of like I feel like it's better suited to Sith than it is the Jedi, just on the basis of there's this whole learning curve to properly
Yeah.
wielding it, and there's some ways through it, so
Hmm.
you really gotta be like attached to the thing to want to do the double bladed. So
fucking
uh
MSF.
definitely definitely single bladed. Crossguard is more a consequence of the lightsaber being older, I believe.
Yeah.
Or in Kylo's case, cracked. His crystal is cracked,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and even though it does make it look cool, I think it's probably ultimately a weaker blade.
Hmm.
Um, as far as color goes, well, I mean, my logo's a blue lightsaber. Um, uh, uh, yeah. And I always tell people to look for the guy with the blue lightsaber. So to be consistent, at one time the logo here was green, but it didn't look good
Hmm.
as a logo. So I ended up changing everything to red, to blue.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as the hilt would go, I would like to go with something more customized for the hilt. At least in my um but what do you call it? My branding here on the channel. My hilt on that lightsaber is actually the uh light cycle baton from Tron Legacy.
Ah, okay.
So it's because my whole branding here is like a cross between Tron and Star Wars, hence Digital Jedi. But
Oh, okay. That's where the digital came from.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
always just assumed it was like I am internet man.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
That's what I thought it was as well.
I mean, originally, yes. It just evolved to that at some point. I was like, oh yeah, that's like, that's right. I really like Tron, and I say greetings programs at the beginning of all my stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, so I just like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Digital Jedi.
Mhm.
So yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about lightsabers, but I'll hand it off to you, Sirius. What's
Um,
your poison?
I like one thing I really like about Fallen Order. I also understand that they do this at those like Star Wars parks where they have like they actually have like the same ones in Fallen Order that they have at those Disney World things. So like
Mhm.
you can make your own you can make your lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge or whatever it's called, and then you could
Yes,
basically recreate it in Fallen Order, like
yes.
because they use the same pieces. But I think I'm thinking about it, and I think I would like mine. Kind of I guess it would be kind of like a combination of what we see in the sequel trilogy. But I would like the cross guard. I like the cross guard
Yeah,
a lot.
it is
And
nice
I
looking. Yeah.
yeah I probably would honestly I would say yellow because I like yellow a lot. For like a lightsaber. I like what it symbolized in like Legends and like the modern comics. Like in Legends, it was the color of a Jedi Sentinel who was in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of like sort of like a jack of all trades because in KOTOR like the blue lightsaber was for like lightsaber purists basically like they used very little force abilities. They were more so about like the sword fighting, and like the green lightsabers were for like the counselors for like the people who use the force more, but like the yellow was the middle
Yeah.
middle ground as we saw with Bastila. Yeah, Bastila had a yellow double blit, but I'd say like a yellow cross guard. And I would like to have some kind of like as for like the actual hilt itself. Like I like the ones in Fallen Order that are not just metal; they have like bits of wood or like some kind of like a ivory in it, like some kind of carved bone. I think
Oh
that'd be a
yeah.
really sleek look if it was like a nice if the lightsaber head was like a darkened metal or like a gunmetal gray with like on the sides of the hilt sort of like ivory and leather just sort of like tied together like a very nice a very I guess elegant lightsaber or like
An
a
elegant lightsaber for a
for
more
a
civilized.
yeah uh, but yeah like yellow crossguard I would think for me.
Yeah. I kind of always wanted like thought that it just made sense for your hilt to be made of Beskar, but
Yeah.
like I don't know like the Mandalorians don't seem to like when you do that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and like I would love the dark saber. Like
Yeah.
I would totally rock the dark saber. I just don't want to rule Mandalore.
Yeah.
For any reason whatsoever, do I want to rule Mandalore? I mean, like they're cool and all. I don't want none of
Yeah,
that.
I guess I also, if not yellow, I would like to have a lightsaber that has a crate dragon pearl in it. I can't
Oh
remember what.
yeah,
If I can get that, but yellow, I will take that. I can't remember if there's a specific color associated with crate dragon crystals. I think it might be like a green, maybe. But if I could get like a crate dragon yellow, I would
yeah. Oh,
definitely say that.
that was in Legends where you could make a lightsaber from
Yeah, yeah,
another.
yeah, yeah,
Because in the current canon, you can't make a lightsaber. Like you can't even synthesize.
yeah. Well, I would break canon because I have the dragon
Yeah,
lightsaber.
because like I believe it's is it the Rogue One prequel novel
Mhm.
says that you can't they tried to synthesize Beskar and it was too unstable.
Right.
uh, Basically just blew up in their faces. So, which I kind of like just a smidge better. I do like the idea that, because like in the old canon, you could make a lightsaber out of just about anything. Like
Well,
they were
I'm
like
reading.
yeah, weren't there like 10, 20 different types of gemstones
No,
that you could?
I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. I'm looking at the
Uh,
canon entry for Crate Dragon Pearls. They are formed from Kyber. It still
no
can work.
kidding.
They're they're technically Kyber crystals. Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
Give me the Crate Dragon Pearl. They were formed from. I'm just again. This is the canon page from Wikipedia. They're like from Kyber.
Wow.
Hell yes.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, that's sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is great. And like in current canon, the only reason you wouldn't you don't pick a red. The kyber crystals don't come red.
Yeah.
Um, that's that's a result of Dark Force users using the kyber crystal, and the kyber crystal doesn't want to be used by the dark side. So
Yeah.
you force your will upon it, and you make the crystal bleed. So
Oh,
I've talked about this on. I've mentioned this in the Discord, but I figured this would be a good place to bring a good time to bring it up. Like I want like a I would love a maybe like a ancient Jedi story, like way before anything that's been done so far, that centers around the creation of the first practical lightsabers.
yeah.
And like how it'd be like a power struggle for the tech, because it would obviously alter the balance of power between
Yeah.
the Jedi and the Sith. So I wanted it like a Game of Thrones style show,
Hmm.
um, just without the naked people. Um, more family friendly,
Yeah.
but kind of still have that kind of medieval feel to it. And it's just like it kind of leans more into the fantasy tropes
Right.
of Star Wars than it does the Western tropes or the other tropes. So so like a Jedi Knight being hired by a village to stop a crate dragon, to slay a crate dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great.
something like that. So, but like the early lightsabers could have like a large power pack that you have to carry with you or whatever, and you have
Yeah,
to
the
be pretty
proto.
good to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the proto saber, and just be like, but it's still like a game changer because only a Jedi can wield this.
Yeah.
And like just have a whole thing be centered around like very trying to gain control of this power source so that they can be whatever it is you write
Yeah.
the main plot line to be. But I love that idea of the early lightsabers being a thing that they fought over.
Totally. Yeah, that would be really cool to see.
Are you listening, Lucasfilm? I can write good. I write good. Okay, so last question. This one is from our
I,
friend
I
Wowie
I
again.
do just like Edward does have one in. I don't know if you guys want to answer that one too, but I
I
just see
didn't. Oh,
Edward
I
just
missed it.
posted one. Yeah, no, he just posted like 6 minutes ago.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, really?
Throw that one in the chat too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Oh, that's the one
So
notification I missed. Fuck.
the question from Wowie was, without making the question be centered around Star Wars or Star Trek universe, what do you think your would be your ideal sci-fi universe? Describe Symphony
Hmm.
World. Um, hmm. Well, I mean, it's not like Star Trek isn't like one of the more ideal universes that you'd want to live in. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're not in Starfleet, odds are your life's going to be pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Uh,
like if you're not on the front lines of some sort of confrontation, or you're not on a planet that gets consumed by a giant space amoeba, you're probably gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But
so,
like, yeah, go ahead.
hmm. I'm just thinking, because, like, obviously, like, I'm still making my way through Star Trek at a snail's pace.
Yeah.
I'll try and pick up speed. This is another thing I was talking about with Maddie yesterday. I was like, man, I am taking, like, I'm going through this and I'm enjoying it, but I'm taking way too long. Uh, like, I need to actually pick up the pace a bit and watch some more stuff. But yeah, there's a good chance that the stuff I'm going to mention um, ends up being a thing, and I just don't know about it yet.
Hmm.
Some of the stuff I'm going to mention right now, I already know about. Like, there's no money, prisons aren't a thing. It,
Right.
it's all about rehabilitation.
Hmm.
Um, um, the governments that are in place are completely in service of the people.
Hmm.
Uh, like, um, if they try and pull anything that would like work against the interest of the public, like, and like the wider world, if not the universe, they will immediately get torn apart by the people. Not literally, but like, you know, um, like the idea is basically like, okay, um, like you represent us, so you actually have to represent us. Like there'd be a massive emphasis on that part, because otherwise, what's the fucking point? Like, you don't want someone who's just gonna go in there, lay about, and not bother to do anything for you or anyone else. That just encourages people to not care. Yeah, I don't know. I just think like really all the stuff I'm thinking of is just like Star Trek shit. It's like it would just be very like
Well, it's
idealized utopia.
that question, your ideal sci-fi universe is hard to detach from Star Trek if you've seen it or if you're fairly familiar with it, mainly because like it's the whole point of that universe is to be an idealized depiction of the future, where like even though you have like wars, you have conflict, you have um disasters, you have bad guys that commit atrocities that rival anything that happened on Earth. But the point, that's because you're following the people on the front lines of these conflicts. You're following a defense, military, scientific organization that goes out looking to learn new stuff and ends up, sometimes they're not nice when they get there.
Yeah.
Sometimes they misunderstand when you get there, but the premise of the universe is that
Sometimes
we've
they topple
fixed our
civilization.
problems. We've taken care of our problems, and now we would like to grow and learn more about the universe.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to detach that question from Star Trek, because it's like the big one, the big sci-fi franchise that actually does that. Not too many do that. Babylon 5 really didn't, was more about the intrigue. Um, there was a suggestion that we would like evolve to be these really enlightened beings in the future.
Right.
Um, um, but primarily that show wasn't depicting an ideal future. It could get really bleak um, sometimes, but bleakness was like a big part of that show.
Yeah.
um, I wouldn't say that like Star Wars is not the future, even though it's futuristic, but like that's not a universe that's got its problems to get worked out. They don't have their act together.
They still have slavery. Uh,
Yeah.
One. I mean, we still have slavery, but it's wage slavery. But we're not going to get into that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, literally, Wars is in the name of the franchise. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, like I interpreted the question they asked uh, differently, because I thought it was just like, what's a neat sci-fi premise that you have?
right. Oh, okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't know the context of it. It's a question that like I've completely misinterpreted. But I guess
Yeah.
I will say, um, at least the way that I thought that their question, I
Actually, I
think it's
think you
always
might be right.
I
I
think I think
yeah.
it would be my funny idea. I guess for sci-fi, for everything in general, is I don't like it when you make the time travel like you can't have loops and constant changing. Like it's either all loops or it's all changing. Um, like I don't. This is why I hate the CW so much, because like they have like in the Flash, like Legends, I'm fine with, like they're fucked anyways. But like the Flash is like, we have time loops, but also Barry has changed the timeline 6 times. So why do those loops exist? Like it's just like trying to visualize this, you can't do it. You need that fucking like. But anyways, my idea. I like the sci-fi. This is what I would do if I was given like my own little sub universe of DC or Marvel or whatever. But I like the idea that the timeline is constantly changing, to the extent that like if say if I go back in time, I create a completely new timeline. That's the new main timeline. So then if someone else goes back in time, there's a new timeline again, and I'm like, it's like it's changed again. Like so, like if you go into the future to try and see yourself, it's like you can't, because you like I just want like ever like I just want to see like and I guess like the Wowie they said like funny world building. I like the idea that there would be just like a bunch of jackasses with time travel. Like they keep traveling back in time, like just consecutive different like each timeline's version I can speak. There's like an equivalent like I guess like the easiest idea is like to illustrate this with like Professor Zoom Eobard Thawne. So he goes like we've got the normal timeline where Barry's mother is alive. So then Eobard Thawne is from this timeline. He hops back in time. He creates the new timeline because when you think about it, all of DC is not all of DC, but a lot of DC is reverse Flashpoint. Like it's just he's gone back in time and killed his mother. His future cannot exist because presumably there was a timeline where Nora lived. So then you just have if Eobard tries to go into the future to try and meet himself like he does in season 1 of The Flash, he tries to go back to the future. He would, and it's just like, who the fuck is this? There's just some like random guy named like Tim Thawne. Like there's no Eobard, and it's like you can't exist, dude. Like you went back in time. That's it's a new timeline now. So
Yeah.
my idea would be like you just have one guy or like one character who like they just cannot stop traveling back in time no matter the timeline. So there are just 60 of the same person who is just like, but it's just like the timeline equivalent. It's like, well, I can't exist in the new timeline, but the universe sort of forced a version of me to exist. But then they go back in time anyways. So it's just like technically there's just an army of the same person. That's
Right.
that's the idea I have. Just time
Yeah.
travel clones, I guess.
Just a time travel universe where
Yeah.
there's just so many of you.
Yeah.
It's basically just that last scene in the Matrix.
Yeah, like there's
Yeah.
you, but like who was born earlier. There's like a different there are different gendered versions of you. There's like
You're basically
like,
You're basically the Council of Kangs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's but like it's like in one universe, it's just different timelines converging because
What I love about the Council of Kangs is that its whole purpose is to hunt down and track Kangs that are unstable. And it's just like there's just like hundreds of Kangs
yeah.
from all the time travel that he's been doing,
Um,
and they're all just like a little bit wonkier than the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
It's a good question.
with that in mind, like actually, I think my answer would be Legion of Superheroes, but it's also Star Trek. Like put the Legion on Starfleet essentially, and have them go around the United Planets. I think
There was yeah,
that'd be fun.
superheroes in space. There was some rumor going around, and I believe someone like one of these fandom menace guys started it. One of these guys that hates the new Star Trek and is trying to reconstruct the
boy.
narrative around it. But one of the rumors that was started by them was or actually it may have been somebody who was trolling them started this rumor so that they would repeat
Right.
it. I think that's actually what it was.
Mhm.
So the rumor was that CBS was planning on doing a Star Trek with a superhero type character in Starfleet, and they were going to have a
Right.
crew of people that were kind of super. It was going to be like Star Trek's version of superheroes, where these people all had powers and abilities. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, that sounds sick. That's what gets me into Star Trek.
Yeah, I would absolutely. I would be like, yeah, I'll be very excited for superheroes in Star Trek. Just sign me up. I'll
Yeah.
write it. Yeah. So if like you want to talk about ideal universes, Star Trek, but with superpowers, I'm there, son.
Yeah.
So it's tying that into our actual last question from Edward Hammond, who commented just a few minutes ago. Never seen Star Wars or Star Trek in my life. I don't know why, but they never seemed interesting to me. And every time I try to watch one of them, I instantly become busy or I fall asleep. What would be a good start for someone with no knowledge whatsoever about any of them? That's a tricky question because like it kind
Yeah.
of comes down to like because like I'm a completist,
Hmm.
So, like, if there is a franchise that exists, I'm going to start at the beginning,
Yeah.
and I'm always going to recommend starting at the beginning.
Yeah,
Um,
same here.
but it kind of depends on what how you're going to. Are you going to be able to take the concept seriously, considering that it's a sci-fi show from the 1960s? I personally think the premise it works really, really well and has this wonderful charm to it
Hmm.
because of the fact that it was produced in the 1960s.
Right.
And they remastered it and they made some special effects improvements with CGI that are pretty seamless. Like Danny, you didn't even know they had done that when you were watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, they kind of like improved the quality of the special effects, but without you really noticing that they did it. So I think it improves the quality of the original Star Trek, and I'd always kind of recommend starting there. Um, if you're starting with Star Trek, I would always recommend starting with the Cage first to kind of get an idea of what the show was trying to do, and then you'll see how it kind of gradually changes. But every Star Trek is very, very different from the last one, um, with more or less the same premise and themes, but approaching it in a different way.
Yeah.
If I guess you could get into Star Trek by starting with Discovery, that would pain me.
It would pain a lot of people, but for very different
Yeah,
reasons than it would you.
yeah, yeah. It would pain me if you started with, because that Star Trek is very, very, very different
That's
from
technically
any
a
Star Trek.
prequel, right? Like it's even set before. Is that?
Technically, yeah,
Yeah.
technically it's a prequel that takes place before the original series,
Hmm.
just like about 5 years or so. Um,
Huh.
and it it does complete visual retcons of a lot of things,
Right.
so like things don't look like they did in the original series. They've updated everything.
Hmm.
So but if you can't get into the older stuff from the 60s, um 80s and 90s and early 2000s, um, this is a pretty good show as far as being a modernized version of Star
Yeah.
Trek with that more. Um, s- um, it's the first Star Trek to not focus on a captain, and it's the first Star Trek to be non-serial. It has like an ongoing story uh, built into
Right.
it,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
there is a wonderful charm, and there's a lot of very strong stories in the early Star Treks, and I think if you're going to get into the franchise, you should start there so that you have a context for what you're looking at later.
Hmm.
Um, with
alternatively,
Yeah,
I would also say like if like that '60s goofiness isn't doing it for you. I mean, I personally have enjoyed it a lot
yeah,
so far, but like I can understand it won't be for everyone. But you could always just start with you call it the Kelvin timeline, right? Like
right,
the
yeah,
new movies. Uh,
Hmm.
since like I I've from what I've heard, like the characterization for some of the characters is quite a bit different. But like it just still like give you like some sort of basic introduction to them. Like,
yeah,
Right.
and if it's like okay, these were interesting enough, maybe I'll go back and watch through them with these movies in mind. I think that might be a good idea.
I th- I think like as for the other one, like Edward says, Star Wars or Star Trek. I think also I'm looking at the Discord and like Memer Spider did suggest like the books and novelizations, which I would say honestly, yeah. If you can't get into like movies or TV, again I'm speaking mostly for like Star Wars because I don't watch Star Trek, but like for Star Wars, honestly get on the Mandalorian. like
mhm,
if you can't those are brief, those are like what 30 to 40 minutes. Like
mhm,
yeah, I'd say if you haven't been gripped by Star Wars, do something like do the Mandalorian, um maybe something like Rogue One. If it's I wouldn't suggest watching any of the cartoons until I get really into it. Like don't watch the Clone Wars. I'm sure people would say that, but like no, like if you're not into Star Wars, don't start with the Clone Wars.
It's
Like
weird though because like for a lot of people that was their first Star Wars was the Clone Wars
I
series.
mean like
Like for a
is
generation
it?
that was like
No,
they
but
were
like because
yeah
we
like for a
already we
particular
watched the Star Wars movies as kids, and then we watched the cartoons. Like I watched all the movies that were out before the show came out.
that's what I
Like
mean like there's
I've
like a younger generation of kids who were just like this is the Star Wars that I grew up with
I
like
know, but like
they
that
eventually did watch the movies but
no, but like no,
yeah
I don't think people I haven't heard of anyone like around my age whose first Star Wars was the Clone Wars. Like that's the one we grew up with, but I'll like everyone that I've spoken to like saw the movies first or
I,
like
I, I,
remembers having watched the movies.
I
Like
mean I could argue that like because you were such fans like not you specifically but because the like your generation were
mhm.
such fans of the Clone Wars you went and watched the movies and you remember them chronologically you know you know the order and you're
Yeah,
aware of what
I guess,
but
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 like
I like I feel like there was probably a good chance like if you were 10 or 12 years old and you know who was running that at the time, Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network, yeah.
Yeah, like you were watching Cartoon Network every day, you were catching the Clone Wars and probably it was before one of your parents or a relative or whatever actually showed you the film
Yeah,
you
but
know
like, but my thing is that like Edward seems to have not like, again never seen Star Wars or Star Trek, but it's like I I don't want a non fan to just get into the Clone Wars, like especially like I think
yeah
Edward's around my age. It's like I don't want I like again my brother rewatched like all of the Clone Wars before season 7 came out. I saw bits and pieces. I'm
Mhm.
like Jesus Christ! If I didn't have nostalgic connection to this, I would hate it. I mentioned before, like some of those are really not good, but like
Bad trip.
again, like I would say like the Mandalorian. I think is the Mandalorian is a like honestly, I know there's a lot of continuity, but like my
yeah
mom
the
has watched
Mandalorian
Star
yeah this
Wars, but like she understands. Like same with my dad. Like they kind of get it. Even like I assume Edward would have like you know about Star Wars even if you haven't you might know some vague things, which is good enough to
Mhm.
get into it, but like you're not it's not the optimal way to watch it obviously or whatever. You have to watch all the cartoons, all the movies,
Yeah,
like
the show is not the show's story isn't structured with a dependency on
yeah,
knowing the rest of the franchise.
yeah,
It's structured self-contained. It's just enhanced by knowing the rest of the
yeah,
franchise.
like
But
as
the stuff in of itself isn't
yeah,
like when Mando saves a person or does something for someone, you're not
yeah,
like, oh, that was because of X in
exactly,
episode 4. It's just like
yeah.
it's because Mando's very cool. Yeah.
As much as I guess like the last thing I sort of have to say, as much as I dislike this era just because of like incredible overuse in my opinion, um but definitely if you want to get into some media, like I suggested Rogue One before. I think if you did if you watched Rogue One and then were intrigued enough, then you could just hop right in to A New Hope. Like if you're like if you want something a bit different, if Rogue One grips you, I think that could get you into it because then you're like, oh, fuck, I
Yeah,
need to see where this
it might
goes.
it might
Um,
raise your expectations a little.
yeah, maybe, but like
So
also
so
like
lately like I've been watching a lot of like there's been this trend on YouTube lately with a lot of reactors
right.
and I've mentioned this to you guys. So like there's oddly it's been like lifestyle beauty vloggers who have like decided
Hmm.
to alter their channel's kind of topic to like reactions.
Of
And
course.
so like it's mostly youngish women, you know, like like maybe between the ages of 20 and like er, early 30s, but mostly in the lower ranges.
Mhm.
And like they have they're familiar with like Star Wars but they've never really seen it before,
Yeah.
and each of them have their own differing degrees of familiarity with the franchise.
Right.
So I've seen like a lot of people so they start in the not the machete order. If you hear anything about the machete order, just
Yeah,
kick that person
that's the
in
Big Bang Theory one, right? Like the
yeah, break their kneecaps
yeah,
and proceed to watch it in like
release
any other
order.
order. But yeah, but they start watching it in release order, and it's like they all genuinely seem to be into it,
Yeah,
like because like I can tell when like I don't have any interest in reactors that are all kind of like just saying the same things,
right.
just appease the audience. The ones that I've really latched onto are like people who seem to have a genuine interest in seeing what happens next, and you can
Yeah,
tell as the stakes escalate in the franchise, they start like really getting into it. Like
yeah,
at first they're like, "Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that," and then
mhm,
like they have to have tissues
yeah,
for later episodes because it's just like wasn't expecting it to go there. And they're all more or less honest about the prequels, the sequels,
yep,
and I think after watching that, I would say start with episode 4
hmm
with A New Hope and just watch the films in release
yeah.
order,
Well, it just
um,
yeah.
Start with Ewoks.
or the Ewoks
like
movie.
like because I can think of like a bunch of other places again if you're not gripped by Star Wars, which like
I don't
he's
think, yeah, like I don't
he's
think watching The Mandalorian first would hurt at all.
yeah, and
Um,
like there are some other things that I can like. I honestly I think you could watch The Force Awakens like that. That is very open. Like it's very much like I think that's
mhm.
very easy for somebody to like ease into Star Wars if you start with Force Awakens. Like
Yeah, I
it's just
suppose.
it's fresh. It's just such a blast. Like I have never gotten why people don't like that movie. Even in retrospect, people are like, "Oh," but it's like no, like it's good. Like people who didn't watch Star Wars watched it and they loved it. It's fun
Yeah.
and like I'd say The Force Awakens and the last one. I guess maybe like probably the most dark horse pick. If you play video games, probably a really good one to get to like dip your toes into Star Wars is the most not the most recent, but the second to most recent game, Fallen Order, which does take
Hmm.
place in between 3 and 4. The story is subpar but enjoyable enough, so your standards will be set. Your so
Yeah.
start with Fallen Order, and then you like if you do Fallen Order and then watch A New Hope, you'll be like, oh, like Fallen Order again. I didn't enjoy that one too. Like
Some of the same reactors that I was watching that
yeah,
were just in like the middle of the original trilogy were also playing Fallen Order
yeah,
on their
like
Let's Plays. Yeah.
it's a great one because again like much for like the reasons of Rogue One, like if you're like, oh, this is good, like I would say like if you don't want to start from the very beginning, I would honestly say prepare yourself, watch Rogue One, play Fallen Order, and then if you're interested, continue on, maybe watch The Mandalorian, but like
Yeah.
save the prequel cartoons for when you get to the prequels if you
Well,
get that
yeah.
far. like
Yeah.
don't watch like only watch the Clone Wars once you've gotten to Attack of the Clones. like
Yeah.
that's my my suggestion if you get that far. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
Even
don't yeah.
if you even do the cartoons, because I
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a lot of the reactors I'm watching, I don't none of them have done the cartoons yet, and
Yeah.
I'm like watching 6 or 7 different people
yeah.
who are all ready to like most of them are already up to the Mandalorian now. So
Jeez.
Do you just play this
yeah,
in the background while you're editing or something?
yeah,
Yeah, fair enough.
yes,
Yeah. Like
yeah, yeah.
there are a lot of ways you can get into these things, but like yeah,
You
again, like Star Wars, I would suggest
you
if you're
could
into games or comics or books or whatever,
Because like
maybe look at that.
if you decided you wanted to watch an episode of The Mandalorian at any point during your watch, you could start A New Hope. I would
Yeah.
say,
Oh,
yeah,
totally. Yeah.
yeah.
uh
But just like A New Hope is like where it all began and what got everybody into it. And even though there's some like less than stellar remastering as opposed to what they did with Star Trek, some of the
Ugh,
remastering is a little more
the Crate Dragon.
less subtle. You won't necessarily be aware of what those are
Yeah.
on a first watch. I think like none of the people I saw watching it even knew it was remastered, and they were just like,
Right.
"Wow, the CGI in this is pretty good for the time it came out."
So like
I'm
me
Yeah.
with Star Trek.
I'm just like, oh boy,
Yeah.
boy, are you going to get comments?
Uh, but yeah,
But
you could do what my sister did and start with The Last Jedi.
oh
Now
god,
this is the based way.
Yeah, like my my parents took her to watch The Last Jedi, uh,
Jesus
on
Christ.
like for Christmas it came out, and I remember being like, I want to go, kind of want to go see it, but at the same time I don't
Yeah.
want to go with them,
Yeah.
so
I
stay at home.
I enjoy that movie, but holy shit. Is that possibly like the worst besides like Attack of the Clones?
So
Like I
here's the
think The
thing.
Last Jedi.
just start every franchise on the second film.
Yeah.
On the middle film in the trilogy. That's gonna
Holy hell.
So let
just
me just say, I asked her
Yeah.
about it like a year later, or a year and a half later, because I was like, wait, oh yeah, you started on The Last Jedi. What the? And she was like, yeah, I didn't really get what was going on, but I liked it. And it's like,
yeah,
you know what? Good for you. She also went
Yeah.
and
yeah,
saw Rise of Skywalker and enjoyed it. So,
You know
uh,
what?
yeah.
I like
Weird.
what honestly, whatever works. Whatever
yeah.
you find works. Like it like But
Go for the
like
one that has the nicest poster. How about that?
You know, like I grew up in an era where you didn't have much of a choice where you could get into a franchise. Like it's
Yeah.
like if you missed A New Hope and you wanted to get into Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back is coming out, you really didn't have a choice but to go see Empire Strikes Back. Um,
Yeah.
like Star Wars took many years before it got on any type of whole. It was years before they aired it on television.
Right.
Like I remember uh we had moved to North Carolina when I was 7, so Empire Strikes Back came out after that. So by the time I'd seen Return of the Jedi, Star Wars still hadn't made its first appearance on television, I don't think.
Jeez.
And it definitely had not gone to any type like Betamax was the only thing popular out at the time, and I don't think many movies went to Betamax. It was definitely forever became before it came out on VHS. So you pretty much saw. So when in this era where you can choose where you start a franchise, I'm always like try to encourage people to do it at the beginning.
Hmm.
But like in the case of like something like The Mandalorian, you'd probably be fine.
Hmm.
Probably be a lot of fun actually. Uh, but yeah, and I still recommend like A New Hope to start and just watch the first trilogy to just get a sense of what everyone's talking about. And if you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
continue from there, you can. You know.
Well, you could do what I did and catch a Jar Jar scene from Phantom Menace and have that be
Yeah.
your introduction to Star Wars. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm not that big into it. Uh,
Well, I feel like the original trilogy if you watch that you can at least it's at least worth the cultural significance.
Hmm.
Even if it turns out to not be your thing, it's at least worth absorbing to just have that context.
oh
I
yeah,
think
absolutely.
it's useful. Yeah.
But yeah,
As you know, as anyone who's heard me say or seen me type or seen the giant banner in my channel, watch everything.
Yeah.
Which basically I mean that I think everything has something of value, even if it's like something ridiculous like what we did with Star Crash.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like the value out of that film was we talked about it for an hour,
Yeah.
so there was something there. It brought something to our lives that wasn't there prior.
Hmm.
So I feel that that's like true for just about any film. It's going to bring some kind of value to you if you give it a chance.
it
Hmm.
gave me a
Yeah.
white brunette in a bikini.
Yes.
Uh,
And Amazon and space Amazons.
Space
Yeah.
K people.
Space.
But
Shit.
yeah.
And bionicle sword fighting robots.
One last thing I'll say about Star Trek, and that's in relation to what Mima Spider said about like you could read some stuff. There is a crossover with Green Lantern that like a comic crossover with Green Lantern that was released a few years ago that was very well received uh, by most audiences. I think that like if I remember right, Edward is into Green Lantern, so that might be a good starting point for him. It's just like, okay, so these are these, this is who the original series' characters were. Okay, cool. Maybe I can give this a shot. Just ease him into them. Just a possible suggestion, because
Yeah.
it's not the most conventional way to start things off, but I think it could work out.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for the questions, everyone. We appreciate you chiming in at the last minute there. The podcast took so long that there was plenty of time for questions to come in. You can listen to this podcast at any of your local podcasting networks. Those are not a thing. I'm available on anchor.fm. You can find the Jedi HoloCast on a number of other podcasting services. Just go to anchor.fm and look and see if you see your favorite podcasting service in the Where to Listen section. And you can obviously also listen to this podcast at youtube.com/Digital Jedi Master. You can find me just by searching for Digital Jedi. I'll be the guy with the blue lightsaber. Sirius, Danny, thank you once again for being on the show. I hope you had a good time. I know I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been fun.
Yeah.
Starcrash.
Yes,
Starcrash.
Starcrash. Great sci-fi movie or the greatest sci-fi movie?
Greatest.
I think that question was answered today. Yeah.
Next week, Megamind.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We should probably do a thing where we schedule all of this stuff in advance, and then we can just tell people here.
Yeah,
what we'll be discussing next week.
I have that preliminarily on my my podcast folder. I have a bunch of just random folders listed season 2 episode 7 WandaVision recap, etc. and so forth.
Excellent. You hear that, folks? We've got a plan. So
Seriously, me and Mark.
Next month.
We've all got a plan. So wherever you're listening to this, be sure to do whatever the things are that notify you, so that you can find out what that plan is.
Smash that fucking like button. Hit the bell.
Smash that like button, buddy. Oh, is that how Jack the guy does it?
I don't know.
I've always wanted a clever farewell, but I have yet to come up with one. So we'll just take turns saying, "Peace out, everyone."
Use the force on that like button. I don't. I hate
we'll
that.
See you all. We'll see you all next time
folks.
on the Jedi. Oh, we still didn't discuss the problematic nature of the podcast name. We'll try to make that
next episode.
Yeah, we'll make
that has to be a running gag. We have to keep saying we'll do it next episode,
forgetting.
But we never do.
It's it's like the what's up with that guy who they never get to at the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly. This is we have a running gag. We have
we have a running gag. We've come up with one already.
That's not just an extended Discord server meme. Let's fucking go.
We'll talk about the problematic implications of the word HoloCast, Megamind, and making Danny have a seizure over Suicide Squad rosters.
No!
Much to come.
All that and more on the next Jedi HoloCast. So stay tuned.
Dun, 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 dun.